And 1080 AM, The Fan.
You trying to say Jesus Christ can't hit a curveball?
Welcome into the firm of Harrison Marang, Danny Marang, and Casey Smith back in the studios. I'm live on location at PDXYZ at the Viking Pavilion here at Portland State. No Harris today. He's out navigating the smoke trails of the central and eastern Oregon, out there rafting. It's going to be kind of a shotgun start today. We'll get through the opening segment, and then we're going to have Stephanie Rogers, the CMO for the San Francisco 49ers, joining us live. We're going to rotate quite a few people through here today. We are going to have the Oregon State Beavers head coach and his wife join us a little bit later. So, Casey, you'll get a little bit of love out of this. You'll get to hear your new coach, but also his wife is the head women's soccer coach at Oregon. So we got a little power couple action. We also going to have the CIO of the San Francisco Giants, Bill Slough, who's on the International Olympic Committee for the United States and was instrumental in getting the LA Olympics. So we'll talk to him about that. And I'm sure we'll talk to Stephanie about the substation in the 49ers and the marketing around that. But, yeah, it's going to be a busy, busy day. If you're watching live on YouTube, youtube.com/1051 The Fan, you will see behind me the Portland State Vikings basketball court where they have this pavilion all set up with a ton of attendees. It's an awesome event. We've done this for the last 3 years. So, like I said, it's going to be a bit of a shotgun show today as we kind of bounce around things here. And this will be kind of weird because I'm doing a remote solo. This is with a bunch of people behind me who, for those that don't know the technology behind these headsets, they only really pick up right in front of my face, but I have to project, and when they get going, it gets super, super, super quiet in here. So I'm wondering if they're going to hear half of a radio show. That's kind of what I'm thinking. They're going to hear, maybe think I'm talking to somebody or talking to myself, and it's going to be Casey on the other end, who they're not going to hear. So I'm going to get maybe some weirder looks than normal. Oh, we'll see where that goes. Casey, how you doing?
I'm doing good. We'll just have to play this one by ear. This will be an interesting one for sure.
Yeah, I've got a show loaded on the show sheet. There's quite a bit of college football, NFL football. We'll talk about the Blazers and the relocation fees. Dun, 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 dun. The Hall of Fame game. Maybe we'll get to that. A little vampire action with Carson Beck. But I don't know, man. I think this is the first remote I've ever done solo. So this is, I'm not going to lie, even though I have all this space, I feel really weird in here, man. Like, are we looking okay on the YouTubes?
Yeah, you're looking great.
Oh, look at that. Yeah, I've got a collared shirt on. Also, I think I'm the only person in here wearing a hat because usual pre-show routine is I get up in the morning and take the dogs for a walk and get ready to go and then head to the gym. I had to do the gym shower. That's for me, it's not that weird because military, but it's I think a lot of people get weird in public showers. Are you capable of doing the public shower situation?
I'm capable of a public shower, but if I have to, I'm just gonna shower at home.
Well, yeah, see, I didn't have that option. Like, I couldn't go home then come back out. I mean, I guess I could have, but it just would have taken me way longer to do that. But like, I don't know, man. Like, I feel like gym etiquette around the shower. I mean, old people notwithstanding, like they're we all know.
Once you reach a certain age, that just goes out the window.
It just goes out the window. People are just gonna get ridiculous and walk around naked, and it is what it is. And we all know the old guy who wants to have a conversation with you while just wearing flip flops.
A lot of swaying bean bags is what I'll say.
Yeah, right. And a lot of like 1 foot up on the bench kind of deal. It's like the stereotype's there for a reason. But like the gym that I work out at, it's like little cutouts, stalls with lockers, right? Like it's probably like 10 feet wide. It's got the U-shaped bench that goes around through there, right? And I swear, some people will get out of the shower and they will just kind of like take over. There's like probably like, I don't know, 5 or 6 of those in the gym that I go to in the locker room. It's a pretty big locker room. But they'll like take over the entire section. Like this is like they're like marking their territory. And all of a sudden, the people who aren't showering are now stuffed into like one little section if they're changing or getting ready to work out or go hop in the shower. I don't know. Have you noticed that? Like the territorialness of the gym public gym space, like locker room area.
When it comes to the gym showers and the gym bathroom, I feel like I'm a very in and out type of person. I don't necessarily notice all the lingering, but I feel like there is always the same group of people that lingers in there when I go in there.
Like that's their social hour?
Yeah, like that's their time to, just chap it up and see where the homies are with their lives. That's their social hour.
Yeah, it's kind of I don't know how to describe it. It's a weird situation. Like I don't really know what to do with it. I'm with you. I'm a let's get in here, let's get out of here. Typically, though, I mean, if I've got time, I'll use the shower at the studio. And yes, for those that are wondering, we have a shower at the studio. It's actually not that bad. The water gets warm and it's relatively clean. I think Suk and I are the only ones who ever used it. Have you ever had to use that one, Case?
No, not yet.
Okay, so there you go. Shockingly, the 2 big bearded dudes are the only ones who use the shower there. But what are you going to do with that? Yeah, pretty much. But that's the same situation. The only thing out there is like, there's probably like we have like a 3/4 wall that separates the stalls and the urinal from the shower. For those that are trying to picture this, like it's a kind of a longer bathroom, and so you get around the corner. But the problem is, at least I don't know problem, but on the right hand, so the stalls are on the left, the mirror and the sinks are on the right. Well, the mirror runs the entire length of the bathroom, and so you can see around the corner into the shower.
It does the good old wraparound.
Yeah, right. I like your phrasing there. So I look, man. I have no shame. I don't care. I'll walk around there bare butt and just it doesn't matter to me. But I also work with these people, so
it's an interesting little dynamic that you have to deal with there.
Do you know what I mean? Like it's like
the idea of a work shower is already in itself just a little bit. Okay. I do work with these people.
That's the difference, though. For me, it's not weird. The world that I came from, the military, that's normal. You know what I mean? You know what I'm saying?
100%.
So for me, it's like it's not weird at all. It's weird for everybody else. I can hear like it's funny. Like I can like feel the awkwardness when somebody opens the door into the bathroom. And they hear the shower running. I can like almost feel them getting tight. Like, oh no, somebody's using the shower. It's like, yeah, guys, it's there for this. Like we all know what this is, right? Like, I mean, if you want to see what I'm working with, go for it. But I don't care. But like I'm trying to like hug the wall tightly just to not make them feel.
Well, the issue is that we also have a little bit of a war going on in our office with the radio in the bathroom. Where
yes,
we're Danny Dwyer over at the country station likes to change it to country music versus me who likes to change it back to our station so I know how much time I have in between breaks to go to the bathroom.
We 100% use it for the same reason. Every host that changes the station is not changing it to what they prefer. We're changing it to know, because we know we have a stack that kind of tells us how much time we have in between breaks. Like, it'll be one of those things like, okay, I've got 3.5 minutes, I can poop. You know, it's just like, I got a minute 30, I can only like jog to the bathroom and pee real quick. It's one of those things. But we know what's in the stack before we would leave the room, so when we hear it on the radio, we know when we get to a certain spot, we have 30 seconds. At least that's how I do it. Is that how you do it?
100%.
Yeah, and for Danny, he knows the length of the songs, and he knows what song's going to come up, and he knows, like, okay, this song's got 30 seconds left, I got to go.
If he's in the third verse of Choosing Texas by Ella Langley, he knows that he's got about 35 seconds until he has to be back in that studio.
Yep, and that's the same thing with us. Like, I know, it's a 30-second spot before we come back, and, like, I hear that spot start, I'm like, oh, no, I got to go, and that's when
to tie it back to the shower, the reason why it's an issue is because the radio is on the very far left of the bathroom mirror. So you have to walk pretty much all the way towards the corridor of the shower to change the radio.
Yes. And so if you're going to go down that path.
So if you walk in and you hear that shower, you might as well just walk right back out.
Yep. It's like you're not, it's because you're not getting, you got to get too close to it. Now you're like, you have to make the conscious effort and decision to go down that path and go, do I really want to?
How badly do I really need to change this music?
Because that's the thing is, like, when you're in the shower stall area, you can see that corner of the mirror. There's no hiding there. So if I pop out of the shower right then, you're going to get what you get. It's like, so you have to make a conscious decision of what you're going to do before you go down that path. Like, these are the unconscious, conscious decisions that you go through in everyday life where you have to go, it's kind of a risk analysis. Like, do I really want to change this? Or, am I risking it for the biscuit? It's like, oh man, what are we doing here? What are we doing here?
I like to think I'm prepared. My therapist calls it anxiety.
See, you know what? I am not somebody who, through most of my life, has gotten anxious over things, and I think it's because I'm too dumb. I really like when big things are coming or big changes are coming, or I'm like, I've had people ask me, how were you nervous? Do you ever get nervous on air, like doing TV or radio? I was too dumb to be nervous. Like when I went and did the first read for Outsiders. I think I've told this before. They brought in, I think, about 10 of us to try out for the show, and I had never met Shane and I had never met Joe. And we had about 3 minutes. Like we paired up with person after person after person, and we had about 3 minutes to prepare, and then they just threw us in a test for like 5 minutes. And after that, we went down that path, and it was like just wolves to the fire. And Shane and I ended up doing something really, really, really stupid. And it was, we were comparing Trailblazers players and coaches to Lord of the Rings characters. Shane told me he was a comedian. I'm like, let's just do something stupid. And it was so dumb. It was so bad. It was so horrible. We couldn't stop laughing the entire time. And apparently they loved it. So it was one of those things where you get thrown in those situations, and it just becomes the dumbest possible thing. All because there's no anxiety. Again, Shane's a stand-up comedian, so he's used to doing this. And me, this is my first time being on camera for anything other than like doing a hit somewhere for something. But I think a big part of anxiety, at least for the lack of it for me, comes from just being too dumb to recognize, like, oh, this is a thing. You know what I mean?
I'm with you there. My brain kind of just shuts off when I have to just do a certain thing where it's like, all right, let's just do the task, get over with it, then we can do the critical thinking afterwards.
And shout out to Rufio and my fiance in the YouTube chat, who Rufio says, I'm completely fine seeing someone naked or being seen naked. And my fiance saying, that's nice, Rufio. Thanks for making the chat aware. So, yeah, you can be a part of the YouTube chat, youtube.com/1051thefan. It's, what can I say? This is the kind of day that we're having. Stephanie Rogers is right over here right now. We will take a little break. We will come back. She is the CMO for the San Francisco 49ers. If you remember 2 years ago, She joined Dusty and I. She was holding, I believe, the same position with the Las Vegas Golden Knights. So she's gone from the hockey world to front and center, big boy world of the NFL. And we'll ask her about substations and the Olympics and the 49ers and everything else around that. We'll get to that next here on the Firm of Harrison Marang here on 105.1 The Fan. Welcome back into the firm of Harrison Marang. Danny Marang here. Patrick Harris, of course, is out rafting, but instead I am joined by our previous guest from PDXYZ, Stephanie Rogers, the CMO now of the San Francisco 49ers. The last time we talked to you, you were with the Las Vegas Golden Knights. Yeah. Last I checked, they did pretty well. They did pretty well. And now you're with the 49ers running things there. And one of the things I want to ask you, what has been kind of the biggest shift from going to an 82-game season to a 17-game season? Because that's got to be so different from a marketing side of things. It's instead of just like ding, 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 ding. You go from the precision or the shotgun of 82 games versus kind of the precision of 17, where you can have home games. The volume can change, and then obviously the international side of it. So what does that change in like for you?
The biggest change is that I'm home for dinner a lot more often now. Which
nights are not as
I enjoy. Yeah, exactly. And being, in the NFL on the West Coast, even when you have a primetime game, you're usually in bed by 10, which is nice. It's interesting, right? When you have 82 games, you really are on this cycle, and you're selling tickets every single game. And the show in Vegas was remarkable, right? And so the magnitude of what we were doing in Vegas was actually pretty intricate and pretty big, and we were operating at a level that not a lot of arena teams operate at on a consistent basis. So that transition into the NFL was a lot more easy to kind of understand, because the shows in the NFL are huge. I mean, you're talking, you only have 9 to 10 home games. You have to make the most of them for your fans. You have to make the most of them for your players. Every game matters so much more because there's just so fewer of them. And then for us, it's really finding a way to take advantage of every single game that exists. So not only our home games, but we're doing fan invasions on the road. We call them our faithful takeovers. Our fans love to be able to turn the stadiums red.
So do me a favor and stay out of Las Vegas.
Sorry?
Do me a favor and stay out of Las Vegas.
Stay out of Las Vegas.
I'm a Raiders fan.
Oh, no.
I already got enough road fans coming into that building.
Yeah, you guys thrive on road fans at Allegiant. So for us, it's the magnitude of it is so much larger, right? We've got 30 million fans around the world. How are you engaging with them on a day-to-day basis? How are you making sure that you're providing opportunities for them to showcase that fandom? So it's been a really fun transition.
Well, you're not only doing the 49ers, you just got done with the World Cup, and you hosted a number of nations and a number of teams at Levi Stadium. What was that experience like? What did you kind of go into with that, and what did you kind of take away from that?
Yeah, I was so excited to see the World Cup come to our stadium, Levi Stadium in Santa Clara, and I've always thought that it was going to be the pinnacle of global sport, right? And I don't even follow, global football that closely, but to me, it seemed like it's everything that sport means. It's the identity, it's the culture, it's the community, it's the country pride. And I will say, even with everything that I had built up in my mind, it surpassed it tenfold. There was people from every stretch of the world. We had Qatar, we had Jordan, we had Algeria, we had Austria, Australia, Switzerland, and we had the U.S. men's national team get a win at our stadium, which was unbelievable. And people are just there, totally dressed up, taking photos with each other, just totally enamored with the moment. It was remarkable. I couldn't get enough. I get chills literally even still, thinking about it now. And I'm really hopeful that it'll get to come back and that we'll get to see that again at Levi Stadium.
There's a lot of pomp and circumstance that goes into NFL games. What was different about with the World Cup when you've got national teams and you've got flags that are 50 yards wide getting out on the field, and the national anthems of multiple nations? And what was that? What was what's the word I'm looking for? Not necessarily the experience, but when you're going into playing a home game for the NFL, there's things you're trying to mark off. How different, how grand was it to get it on the World Cup side of things?
I mean, it was exceptional, right? I still cry at every flyover at 49ers games. I don't take a moment of that for granted either. But I think the World Cup is so different because, in most teams, we have a significant number of season ticket members. And so they're at, the majority of our games. And then there's people that save up and only get to come to one game, a year or in their life. But for the World Cup, it was almost every single person in that stadium, it was their only time to get to enjoy and show up for their country and show up for their team, and with people from all over the world. So just the energy was so different because it was a bucket list dream, once in a lifetime experience for 70,000 people, all at the same time. And to your point, the pomp and circumstance, the flags that took over the field, all the kids that were there, walking out with the players, and just seeing even just the way, that people were dressed. It was just so different to see all of that coming together. So again, it was a remarkable showcase, I think, of what sport is and what sport can provide to the world. And we were very blessed to have 6 matches at Levi's Stadium, and I'm still riding the high of that energy.
So speaking of Levi Stadium, you've got a couple things going on now. You just told me this is the 80th year, 80th anniversary of the 49ers, which that kind of blew my mind. I was like, 80? Like, how long has the league been around? But you've got that, and you've got renovations that you guys are doing at Levi's. We were talking, and I was like, wait, renovation? It doesn't feel like it's been that long. And you said Levi's was built in 2014. So
I think that was the first game, yeah.
So you guys are, I guess, debuted, I should say, in 2014. It's a lot like Moda. Moda was built in 94, 95, debuted in 96.
Correct.
What are you looking at not only with the 80th anniversary and kind of the things you're trying to do there? Because obviously the history of the 49ers is pretty grand, but also putting investment into that stadium.
Yeah, so we're again really lucky in that our owner, Jed York, he definitely invests in the stadium and in the fan experience. And so last season we unveiled these massive video boards, 4K, largest LED 4K video boards on the West Coast. We have the biggest production room. There's like 49 screens in our production room where we're navigating all of the different camera angles that exist. So 3 layers of LEDs and all sorts of different things. We've got 360 pyro happening. So that was a really fun thing to unveil last year. And with that, it gave us the opportunity to really rethink what our game day experience was and how we were showing up and where we were putting the investment and the energy. So we redid, the tunnel that the guys run out of. We kind of had a brand refresh last year, really leaning back into that namesake, the 49er, the 1849er and gold, and kind of everything that gold embodies with, that relentless pursuit and that just belief that coming to California is going to change your life and you're going to strike gold. So we've had a lot of fun kind of reimagining what that experience looks like, and the fans seem to love it last year. So we've got a few fun things up our sleeves this year for 80th, and anybody that's in the Bay Area or anybody that's thinking about coming, I hope we see you at Levi's, because it's going to be a good time for all 9 of those home games.
We're joined by Stephanie Rogers, the CMO of the San Francisco 49ers. You said something about branding that kind of reminded me. Again, I'm a Raiders fan.
I'm sorry.
It's been a rough 20 years. But there aren't a ton of organizations in the NFL that haven't been beaten over the head with a rebrand. The 49ers, the Raiders, the Cowboys to an extent, the Giants, the Packers, the very steep in tradition organizations. As a CMO, how is that to navigate? You want to push things forward, but you also don't want to break what isn't broken. So how do you navigate making, I don't want to call them upgrades, but changes or tweaks to a brand that is, like you said, this is the 80th anniversary. That's a long time in professional sports, especially in the NFL. Yeah. How do you navigate, like, we want to push this, but we also don't want to go away from our tradition, what we've built over 80 years? Yeah,
it was a really fun project, and I'm so proud of our design team and our brand team who really leaned in and helped us lead this. To your point, there's nothing about the Niners brand that needs to change. The oval is iconic, right? It's been our logos for almost, I think, all 80 of those years. We had like a split second there where we tried to debut something new a long time ago. It didn't work. I think it was 24 hours. But we also have the saloon font, which is, the 49ERS saloon font, which is really powerful. So the challenge that we had was like, what does the 49ers brand mean to different people, right? And we went down this exercise. We actually had done this in Vegas as well, which was really fun. And we tried to define, if you had to explain what the 49ers brand means, what is it? We came down to 3 things. It's the oval, so it's the team, it's the championships, it's Bill Walsh, it's Kyle Shanahan, it's, Joe, Dwight, Jerry, Steve, Ronnie, George, Christian, Brock, Fred, all those guys. It's everything that, the team has done and been. It's all the stadiums that we've had. So that's kind of the pinnacle of what we are. Then the other corner of it is our fans. Our fan base is huge, and they're very, audacious in their pride for us, and they represent so many different cultures and generations and passion points and whatnot. So we really prioritize the faithful. And we brought the faithful script to life as a logo to really recognize, appreciate, honor them, and celebrate them as part of our game day. And then the other corner of it was really the 49er, like I mentioned. So going back to kind of your origin of like, what were you named after? Like, what does that mean? And how do we bring all of that to life in a way that very genuinely represents each of those components, but has a little bit more of like a modern kind of tonality to it. So one of the things that's really cool that we're doing this year is we're using newspaper as the 80th anniversary. That's the background of a lot of our our textures and things like that. And since there's not really a lot of newspapers that get out anymore, and people aren't reading them and headlines and different things, our team is taking modern stories and actually going into old newspaper photos that we have and reinventing that look and feel so that it has that tie and it feels very genuine. It's got the modern kind of angle on it, but it's still, again, you don't need to fix anything. The brand is so strong. Correct. And so this whole modern nostalgia is actually very culturally relevant right now, which is very fun for us.
Everybody's wearing what we were
exactly. And it gives the design team a lot of runway to be creative, and it also gives them sort of a lane to play in, right? Which I think is also super important.
Stephanie, thank you for your time. I appreciate it. How's your experience been here? And were you here last year?
I was here 2 years ago. I absolutely love this event. I think the guys that put it on are so unbelievable. Their energy is super high. The content that we have here is unlike most other conferences that I've ever been to. It's a very cool combination of HR professionals and marketing professionals. And it's been incredible. I love coming to this event. I'm happy to be back.
Yeah, we bounce it around apparently every year. We've been in I think 3 different places in the last 3 years.
It's great. Show Portland off.
It's like, hey, all right, let's go check this out.
Yeah.
All right, coming up next, like I said, it's going to be a bit of a shotgun show because we've got guests rotating through. But the NFL is back. We kick off with the Hall of Fame game tonight. We'll dive into that. The Cardinals and Panthers and draft picks making debuts, and we'll see where it goes. But first, here's Casey with the Sports Center update.
Now, from the George McCoy at Warren Allen Sports Desk, a Sports Center update on the Fan Sports Network, 105.1 FM and 1080 AM.
First on the Fan, tonight we get the official start of the NFL preseason as the Arizona Cardinals and the Carolina Panthers will face off in the annual Hall of Fame game at 5 p.m. in Canton, Ohio. Ahead of the game, some NFL news from around the league as the Indianapolis Colts and running back Jonathan Taylor have reached an agreement on a 2-year, $44 million extension. The deal includes $39 million guaranteed as the Colts lock down the player with the second most scrimmage yards and touchdowns since 2020. Over to the pitch as your Portland Timbers face off against Club Puebla in their first match of League's Cup. Kickoff is set for 7:30 inside Providence Park, as you can catch all of tonight's coverage right here on 105.1 FM and 1080 AM when pregame kicks off at 6:30. Your Portland Fire are back in action tonight, hosting the Toronto Tempo inside the Moda Center. Tip-off set for 7 p.m., but make sure to catch all of tonight's Fire coverage over on 9:10 AM when pregame starts at 6:45. And finally, some NBA news for you as the Phoenix Suns and forward Dylan Brooks have agreed to a 3-year, $73 million extension, tying him with the team through the 2029-2030 season. And for more sports scores and stories in 30 minutes, I'm Laura Case from the George McCoy at Warren Allen Sports Desk. Hurt, missing work? Insurance companies acting like jerks? Don't call your mom. Call George McCoy at warrenallen.com.
The home of the Fan Happy Hour. from PDXYZ at Viking Pavilion. This is The Firm of Harris and Marang on 105.1 FM and 1080 AM. The Fan.
Welcome back into the Firm of Harris and Marang, live on location at the Viking Pavilion here at Portland State for PDXYZ. Stephanie Rogers, the CMO of the San Francisco 49ers, just finished up with us. I believe we're going to have the CMO of the Seattle Sounders and Seattle Reign, Ro Vega, joining us here next segment. We're going to, like I said, this is going to be a show where we're moving and bumping things around all over the place. But as a reminder, the Only Bulls Grand Prix of Portland's kicking off a race week with a party free to the public at PIR today. That is today, Thursday, from 5:30 to 8 p.m. Head out to PIR to check out some Indy cars, meet drivers, music, food carts, and more. Head out to PIR today or go to raceportland.com for more info. Casey, you ready?
Let's do it.
The NFL is back.
You know it is.
The NFL is back. We have the Arizona Cardinals and the Carolina Panthers in the Hall of Fame game tonight. Dun, 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 dun.
Kenny, two gloves?
Enjoy. Enjoy. Do you care? Do you
about
care?
The Hall of Fame game? Not
Yeah.
necessarily about the game itself. More of that, you know what it means.
Ball's back.
It means ball is back.
I'm there with you. I will dabble. I look at this. I mean, the biggest storyline coming out of tonight, I think, beyond that ball is back, is Carson Beck is starting. I don't know what to think about that or what to believe about that, and Jacoby Brissett of it all, and kind of figuring that out.
I'm also very interested to see if Jonathan Brooks plays tonight. After obviously he left the season last year with an injury, and Rico Dowdle ended up getting the brunt of the work. Now Rico Dowdle is up in Pittsburgh, so I'm interested to see what the running game in Carolina looks like.
Yeah, and not only that, with Arizona, Jeremiah Love, their top pick is not playing in the Hall of Fame game, but the head coach has come out and already said that, hey, there's 3 other preseason games. He's going to get some work in. I definitely want to see Jeremiah Love. I saw him run all over my team last year. Wasn't thrilled about it. But I definitely believe that he is going to be very good in the NFL. His combination of power and speed and elusiveness is it's pretty damn rare. Definitely one of the running backs are always freaks, but he's definitely one of the freaky freaks. I think he's up there with Barkley, Bijan, and Gibbs, but also has the power to kind of go behind that. His ability, not only behind the tackles or between the tackles, but in the open field, is absolutely terrifying.
Yeah, the second he just gets downhill, he is a tough back to bring down. And when he gets out into open space,
he's gone.
Look out.
Yeah, then that's so. Arizona's been a dumpster fire. I don't think there's really any argument there. They've moved on from Kyler Murray. They do have Trey McBride. I think you can make a very, very good argument that he's the best tight end in football. He was the best tight end last year, certainly. Incredibly productive in the red zone as well as just in the open field. Just the versatility of that position in the game. You're just starting to see more and more dudes there. It feels like we're moving away from the Kelsey Gronk era of these absolute monsters going over the middle. And you're getting guys, don't get me wrong, that are big, but I think you're also getting more of these guys that are almost these supersized wide receivers that have some blocking ability, but also have the monster ability and the safety blanketness that we've kind of seen in historical tight ends. Or I think you're kind of blending the two, where you're getting these guys that are, you can put them on the outside, but they're such a nightmare for linebackers and safeties and nickels and just kind of pick up in the middle of the field.
Yeah, not only that, it's the fact that a lot of teams are just starting to move back to that 12 and 13 personnel that we're seeing with, 2 tight ends, 3 tight ends. Let's get downhill. Let's start running these stretch plays and really get downhill with this running game. The second that starts to spread out and you start to move that to shotgun, if you can have a guy like, a Kyle Pitts, a Trey McBride, a Brock Bowers, again, a Travis Kelce. These guys are going to help extend the field and make it real easy on your guys' running game in the long term.
Yeah, you saw that. Jacksonville Jaguars. They didn't have a first-round pick because they traded that to go get Travis Hunter last year, but they went and got Nate Borkircher And I heard both Tony Baselli and Leon Cohen talking about how he only, some people kind of killed him for that pick. And the idea of it was they saw a guy that transferred to Texas A&M. He caught 19 passes but had 21 targets. But he was a blocking tight end before that. And they said, flat out, we want to get to more 12 and 13 personnel. And from there, we will kind of march on down that pipe and be more about the physicality of it all. We want to get into more of that. And I don't know about you. I'm pretty sure you're in the same boat that I am. I don't like the air raid. I don't like the let's just throw the ball and every quarterback's throwing for 4,000 plus yards and 40 touchdowns and like more points. It's not the vein that I want to get to. I like my football to be, between the numbers. I want to see more physicality. I want to see more downhill. I want to see more aggressiveness. The whole let's see how many Tyreek Hills we can get on the field at the same time. Just not my brand of football. So I'm a
Steeler fan. Boys. So as much as I want to say I do love the downhill, it's all between the sevens. It's all between that front seven battle. Again, it's a game of inches. I love the air raid game. I miss the era. I grew up in the era of quarterbacks that threw for 5,000 yards a season, that threw for 400 yards and 3 touchdowns a game. The Drew Breeses, the Peyton Mannings, the Aaron Rodgers, the Ben Roethlisbergers, the Tom Bradys. Again, I miss that, but I also understand that that's just a little blip in history that we might not get to see that level of talent at the quarterback position ever again.
Yeah, I think it ebbs and flows as it goes through things. Rovega just walked up, so we will have him hop on here. Rovega is the CMO of the Seattle Sounders and Seattle Reign. We will have him come on and talk about not only those teams, but also their experience with the World Cup. So we'll get to that next year on the Firm of Harrison Marang, 105.1, The Fan.
The biggest... of Harris and Marang on 105.1 FM and 1080 AM. The Fan.
Welcome back into the firm of Harris and Marang. Danny Marang here, live on location here at PDXYZ at Viking Pavilion. I'm now joined by Ro Vega, the Chief Marketing Officer for the Seattle Sounders, the Seattle Reign. And also, you were working stuff around the World Cup. Back-to-back, we had Stephanie Rogers, the CMO for the 49ers, who also hosted games at Levi Stadium. I guess I should call it San Francisco Stadium and Seattle
Stadium, right.
Well, thanks for joining us, Ro. I appreciate it.
Absolutely. Pleasure.
You know what? Actually, I want to ask you about that. The World Cup was a resounding success, I think, at every location around the country. What was that like, particularly as a CMO on the marketing side, of having to kind of navigate those sponsorship issues that arose with that at the stadiums and arenas around the country?
I mean, it was an interesting challenge, but I think in Seattle we're either I call it lucky this time around because we don't own Lumen, right? That's a Seahawks property, and so we're a tenant in the building, but we saw it firsthand, right? We had to take down all our graphics, all our seasonal graphics, all our athlete graphics, and replace them with blank nothings. So it was a bit jarring to see, the place that we're in week and week out, completely, blanked out. But I think at the end of the day, people still know it's Lumen, and it feels a little silly at the end of the day, but it is what it is.
I think everybody in the country is still sitting here calling it Levi Stadium, and they're still calling it Mercedes-Benz. They're still calling it Lumen. They're still calling it, Gillette Stadium in New England. And it was one of those things that kind of came out. But even with that and some of FIFA's, I would say, missteps in the lead up to the World Cup, whether it was the water coming into the building or the marketing around things, when you're having to step into that building and help kind of put on a show for the World Cup, what were the challenges and the opportunities that you guys faced and were able to kind of tackle?
Well, I think so for Seattle and for the Sounders and the Reign, we actually activated outside the stadium, right?
Nice.
We galvanized the community at the waterfront. We I'm not sure if you know, but we built a barge and moored it to Pier 62, and so we were getting upwards of 12,000 people every day because they wanted to participate in everything World Cup, right? They wanted. The screen was a little smaller, and they had to be on the Salish steps. But at the end of the day, everyone was so moved by the collective effervescence and being part of the World Cup and the joy that it brought that it didn't really matter what had the size of the screen, but the fact that the Sounders and the Reign, along with our nonprofit, the Rate Foundation, we put this on for the city, and really, I'm not going to say put us on the map, but it reminded people that we are a premier soccer destination, and we've been around for 52 years. So showing up in that way for the city, we like to say it didn't create soccer culture; it revealed it for the world.
Which I think is a cool way for the U.S. in general to kind of how the World Cup progressed. Not only the success of the World Cup here in the nation, but also the U.S. men's team actually kind of getting on the map. And what was it like to kind of to be a part of that on the MLS side of things? Because I did see the MLS marketing around it. We'll take the torch now. It's like, all right, guys, let's. I love the spirit behind it, but the World Cup is the World Cup. So but how do you maintain that? How do you Obviously, next season you guys are going to have the changeover in the schedule to kind of line up transfer windows around the world. But how do you keep that momentum going, not only just for the Sounders and the Reign, but coming out of that, but keeping the MLS pushing forward? The MLS is kind of hitting that threshold now where 25 plus years is when you start to see the staying power of real growth, whether it's the NBA, whether it's the NFL, MLB. Everybody wants to talk about how long they've been around. It's like everybody forgets the first quarter century and what it took to build towards that.
Well, I think that's the challenge, right? That's why we're here. That's why I'm here in this position. I think the World Cup, we always knew was going to be a catalyst or a galvanizing moment for the game. The last time we had it was '94, and it literally sparked the creation of the MLS. It made Nike take account into, hey, if we're going to be the world's number one brand in the world, we need to get serious about the number one sport in the world. And they signed the U.S., they signed Brazil. And so as someone that's worked in and around soccer for the last 18, 19 years, this was the moment we've all been waiting for. This was what we wanted. And so now that we're actually in this position, and to your point, the World Cup was a booming success, better than anybody really expected it. And in Seattle specifically, every fan fest, every fan zone was just teeming with people, just overrun by soccer crazed enthusiasts and people new to the sport. And so for us, it's, the first 2 matches at home coming out of the World Cup were 2 of the largest attended matches that we've had. Both were against Portland.
I wasn't going to do it.
Hey, listen, we won one, we lost one. We'll leave it there. One was a little more enjoyable than the other for us and our fans. But the reality is, I think, like I said, it just reminds people that we have an incredible stadium. It's in the middle of downtown. We put on an amazing show. And over everything else, it's like we have this awesome community of people that come together to watch, my favorite sport and the world's game in soccer. And, specifically for us, you mentioned the U.S. team, we had Christian Roldan on the roster. Mm-hmm. So not a lot of teams around the MLS had somebody represented at that level. And so for us, it was an opportunity to tell stories around the players, around our legacy initiatives, and the work that we've been doing in the community for the last 52 years, and most recently building 52 pitches around the state of Washington for community play. Mm-hmm. And so, taking everything into account, it's how do you continue the momentum and build on it. And, my job is to build that brand and build those experiences that are a bit independent of what happens on the pitch. Winning is awesome. Mm-hmm. Haven't had that much of it lately, but I think it's something that, we'll get through. We stay the course, and we're resilient.
There's a couple stars on the chest. I think you've got a little bit of cachet to play with.
We won, last year we won Leagues Cup. We beat Messi in Miami at home in front of 70,000 people. So it's quick to forget, but we stay the course.
Interesting along those lines, you talk about having a player on the U.S. men's team. You guys have had historically, whether playing abroad, whether it's like somebody like Yedlin or Clint coming back, and mm-hmm. What is that like on a marketing side to be able to because like you said, not everybody can draw that line. Look, there's plenty of guys in the MLS who played for national teams, mm-hmm. but to wear the stars and bars, that's a little bit different. And so, what is that like to be able to draw from that and have that, even like you said, the off the pitch? Because that's going to appeal to more than just Seattle. That's going to have obviously the national appeal. Mm-hmm. So what are the kind of the opportunities and things that come along with that?
Yeah, I think it's exactly that. It's the opportunity to appeal to a broader audience and subvert and enter our Sounders narratives and who we are as an organization. I think specifically with Christian, it gives us an awesome opportunity to retell our story over and over again. That we develop talent. Our talent's homegrown. Christian went to UW and played soccer there, right? So he's been with the Sounders his entire
pipeline. Yeah,
the pipeline, the talent. Again, not to revisit, but like Leagues Cup of last year, and even the team we fielded yesterday. I think we had 5 or 6 players that had come through the academy, and so. Playing for the U.S., playing for the national teams, it just gives us an opportunity to tell our story to a broader audience. And having the U.S. play in our backyard in Seattle was incredible. I think it was just some of the most attended, best attended games, most energy, being in downtown. Again, it reminded people of what a special city we have up there.
Yeah, we were talking off air, and I have to ask you about this. During the World Cup, you went down to Azteca, and we were talking about the altitude there, the experience there. You've been in that building when the largest matches in the world are being played. What is the atmosphere like? What is it like being at that altitude and just kind of experiencing, not necessarily on the pitch with those guys, but the ethos of that?
Yeah, no, it's incredible. I think the entire environment has to weigh on you as an opponent, right? And as a Mexico fan, being from Mexico, I put myself in Mexican shoes, mm-hmm. right? And just the standing there and singing the national anthem with 80,000 compatriots is a feeling you can't get anywhere else. Lumen Field is extremely loud, loudest in the NFL, 136 decibels. Mm-hmm. Azteca got to 155. Ooh. And so you talk about noise, you talk about
that's jet engine.
Yeah. That's fuel.
That's deafening.
That's nitrous. That's everything.
Dusty's the sideline reporter for the Oregon Ducks.
Got it.
And Autzen is one of the loudest stadiums in college football. He was at UW after they got that all finished up, mm-hmm. and he was like, this place. I think it was around like 120 something, 130 something. It's that when you're on the field, it shakes. It reverberates. And if you're at 150 plus,
there's seismic activity being measured a mile away, and you're feeling that. So I think for any opponent, again, I was there for the Ecuador match, which we won, and we got out ahead, and the joy of the people and the celebration was incredible. And I had the fortunate experience of being back for the England game, where we got 2 in the span of minutes. And again, the amount of noise never went down. The celebration versus the optimism was heard just the same. And so I think that's the dream, right? That's what you want out of your stadium, out of your people, and you want to impose that home field advantage on your opponents.
And pre-match the night before, we had at any hotels at 4:00 in the morning.
I was not at any hotels. I was getting my beauty sleep and getting ready to scream for 90 minutes.
Well, Ro, thank you so much for your time. I appreciate it.
Yep.
Thank you for coming down here and spend some time. I'll say good luck. I'm Timbers adjacent. My co-host, not so much. So, but hey,
all good.
Luck.
Appreciate it.
As long as you're not playing the Timbers, good luck. Best of luck to you.
I think we're both still neck and neck for the rest of the season. We're 8th and 9th.
I was saying you guys are right next to each other on the table, right?
Yeah.
Ooh, all right. Well, hey,
good luck to you too.
A little bit of competition down the stretch. I'd like to see that. All right, coming up next, I think we're having another guest. If not, we'll dive into the college football coaches poll. I pushed that, then I saved that because I knew Harris was going to be out. We'll dive into that next here on hour number 2 of the Firm of Harris and Marang here on 105.1 The Fan.
Portland Perks. Looking for some fun that the whole
Now, from the George McCoy at Warren Allen Sports Desk, a Sports Center update on the Fan Sports Network, 105.1 FM and 1080 AM.
First on the Fan, tonight we get the official start of the NFL preseason as the Arizona Cardinals and the Carolina Panthers will face off in the annual Hall of Fame game at 5 p.m. tonight in Canton, Ohio. Ahead of the game, some NFL news from around the league as the Indianapolis Colts and running back Jonathan Taylor have reached an agreement on a 2-year, $44 million extension. The deal includes $39 million guaranteed as the Colts lock down the player with the second most scrimmage yards and touchdowns since 2020. Over to the pitch as your Portland Timbers face off against Club Puebla in their first match of League's Cup. Kickoff is set for 7:30 tonight inside Providence Park as you can catch all of tonight's coverage right here on 105.1 FM and 1080 AM when pregame kicks off at 6:30. Your Portland Fire are back in action tonight, hosting the Toronto Tempo inside the Moda Center. Tip-off set for 7 p.m., but make sure to catch all of tonight's Fire coverage over on 9:10 a.m. when pregame starts at 6:45. And finally, some NBA news for you as the Phoenix Suns and forward Dylan Brooks have agreed to a 3-year, $73 million extension, tying him with the team through the 2029-2030 season. And for more sports scores and stories in 30 minutes, I'm lowercase from the George McCoy at Warren Allen Sports Desk. Hurt, missing work? Insurance companies acting like jerks? Don't call your mom. Call George McCoy at warrenallen.com.
Your home for the Oregon Ducks.
We both had the same look on our face at the same time, like, are we both stroking?
The firm of Harris and Marang on 105.1 FM and 1080 AM. The Fan.
Hour number 2 here, live on location, the firm of Harris and Marang at PDXYZ at Viking Pavilion down here at Portland State. We were just joined by 2 segments already with 2 prominent CMOs. Stephanie Rogers, the CMO of the San Francisco 49ers, and Ro Vega, the CMO of the Seattle Sounders. I can talk, I swear. And the Seattle Reign. Really interesting conversations with them. You can check them out wherever you get your podcasts on the Odyssey Podcast Network. And it's an hour number 2 here. We're going to be joined next segment by Michael Mercado and his wife, Kendall Johnson. We're going to keep it a little bit on the soccer, but they also specialize in some mental health. So we'll get to that with them. But first, something we have pushed off for a couple of days, mostly because I hid it from Patrick Harris because we had some other stuff happen. And Casey, we have the college football coaches poll. How are we feeling? Are we feeling good about it?
I haven't taken a look at it yet, so we're doing it live.
Okay, we're doing it live. Okay. The preseason AFC coaches poll came out, the top 25, of which, weirdly, ESPN is still not corrected because at number 4, the team there has 1,544 points. At number 6, the team there has 1,522 points. But at number 5, the team there has 15,224 because somebody fat-fingered. It's like, hey, guys, what happened here? Oregon Duck fans, how are we feeling? You've got a target squarely on your back because at number 1, Ohio State finished with 1,741 points, 38 first-place votes. At number 2, quack, the Oregon Ducks, 1,637 total points, 6 first-place votes. Interestingly enough, you have to go down to number 3, Georgia, has 7 first-place votes, so 1 more than Oregon. The only other team that has more first-place votes than Oregon outside of Georgia is Indiana. Indiana finished number 6 in the preseason coaches poll, but had 14 first-place votes. That's a pretty large divide. That tells you when they're looking at Indiana, those that love Indiana love Sig and his boys there.
Yep.
But also, the ones that don't, for them to get 14 first-place votes. Let's do the math here real quick. Oregon 6, Georgia 7, that's 13. Indiana has more first-place votes than Oregon and Georgia combined, but is 4 spots behind Oregon. I looked at that and I was like, that's really interesting. That tells me either you love Indiana or you think that the loss of Fernando Mendoza is going to be drastic and that Hoover coming in isn't going to be the guy to get it done.
That's what it seems to be for me, is that they're still very high on Kurt Cignetti, but up in the air about Josh Hoover.
Yeah, I take a look at that. I'm just like, I don't know, man. I feel like Sig's done pretty good in back-to-back years, whether it was Rourke into Mendoza and now into Hoover. Maybe you should start trusting this guy. Is it a magical year? I don't know. But I look at Indiana, and Indiana's got one of the nastiest defensive lines in the country.
Google him.
Yeah, exactly. Google him. And I don't know if anybody remembers, Indiana's the reigning national champion. And yes, they lost their quarterback, but they also brought in a pretty darn good quarterback. At least they believe that he is. In back-to-back years, you had quarterback changeovers at Indiana, so I don't think there's any reason to not believe in them. What gets really interesting in here is your top 2 teams in the country, again, preseason coaches poll, Big Ten, SEC, and then the school nobody cares about, and then Big Ten, and then you finally get your other conference represented. The national champion runner-up, Miami, at number 7, and then you go A&M 8, Oklahoma 9, Ole Miss 10, Alabama 11. So again, SEC, 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 and you get your first Big 12 team at number 12 in Texas Tech, and then you get LSU at 13, USC at 14, BYU 15. So you finish up with Big 12, SEC, Big 10, and your second Big 12 team. So you have a ton of SEC representation in the top 15. You have one ACC team, 2 Big 12 teams, and 1, 2, 3, 4 Big 10 teams in your top 15. Now, the next 10 in this, it's you have 1 Big 12 team, 2 Big 12 teams, and 1 ACC team in Clemson. I don't think there's anybody in here that's really a surprise when you look at this top 25. If you want to say Missouri, fine. I think that's fair. Same with Houston. But Clemson, I mean, you can say what you want about Dabo. They've kind of earned the staying power. Iowa at 22. Dabo's got 2 of them things. Mm-hmm. Utah at 21. That one's going to be interesting. That's your first, your post Kyle Whittingham season. How much of this was Whittingham and what he built? But you also have Michigan at 16, Penn State at 17. And I don't know how you could look at either of those programs and be like, you know what? I really want to elevate them, because I feel like 15 is that cutoff line with BYU. But Michigan and Penn State, obviously Whittingham leaving Utah, going to Michigan, and then Matt Campbell leaving Iowa State, not Ohio State. Iowa State, and taking the job at Penn State after Franklin fired, and takes over Virginia Tech. You've got a lot of changeover. Obviously Lane Kiffin at LSU. And you just kind of go through the list. You're solidified, though, in the top. You've got Ryan Day, you've got Dan Lanning, you've got Kirby Smart, you've got Sark, you've got Freeman, you've got Sig, you've got Cristobal. You just go down the list. The cutoff line or line of demarcation of changeover versus pressure really starts to start at 16. You've got new coaches at Michigan and Penn State. Tennessee, we've already talked about how Josh Heupel is not thrilled with his linebacker being suspended for the first 2 games, and I feel like there's a little bit of pressure on Heupel. Washington, Jed Fish, Damon Williams, and everything that's going on there. SMU, are they going to have the bounce back year? Utah taking over, a new coach taking over after Whittingham left. Then you've got the old steady force of Iowa at 22, and then the back half of the top 25 that I think week after week is going to rotate a cast of characters. But I think this also shows just how much depth and balance. Like, if I told you that one of A&M, Oklahoma, Ole Miss, Bama, Tech, LSU, USC, BYU were in the national title game, would that blow your mind?
Not even a little bit.
Okay, that doesn't account for anyone in the top 7. So you're telling me that legitimately no one should be surprised if anyone in the top 15 somehow ended up in a national title game or a semifinal. And that just shows you, like, college football, despite all of the noise, all of the stupid, all of the ridiculous things around it, it's in a good spot on the field.
Yep, 100%. The product is still super competitive at every level. And
this is where the NIL of it all, the bagmen being around in the open, changes it so much. This is why I will bang this drum, whether you're Washington State, Oregon State, whether you're Oregon or USC, whether you're Clemson or Miami. I don't care where you are. If you get Indiana is the perfect example. Indiana is one of the worst programs in the history of the sport. In the span of 3 years, they're a national title winner. That's insane. But it also shows you, if you get it right, if you get things done right, if you have the right culture, you spend your money the right way, you invest into the organization, and you do it the right way, and you get things taken care of, then you have a chance. You have potential to figure it out. And we'll dive into college football a little bit more a little bit later, if time permitting. I want to dive into some villains and heroes in college football and kind of some early storylines to get into. But coming up next, we're going to be joined by Michael Mercado and Kendall Johnson. Kick it with Kendall. We're going to dive into some sports, some mental health, and everything else that comes along with that. So keep it here on the Firm of Harrison Marang, 105.1 The Fan, live on location at the Viking Pavilion for PDXYZ.
the firm of Harris and Marang on 105.1 FM and 1080 AM. The Fan.
Welcome back into the firm of Harris and Marang, live on location for PDXYZ at Viking Pavilion down here at Portland State. And like I said before, we're going to have a bit of a shotgun show as we're moving things around. That's what happens when you do live on locations. Your co-host decides to take a vacation and leaves you to do everything. So, but instead, I get to be joined by Michael Mercado and Kendall Johnson, correct?
Just turned Kendall Mercado.
Oh, okay.
Actually.
So you gotta, I'm getting married in 17 days. And I told her we're getting married August 23rd. I go, so the 24th, we're going to go down to the Social Security office in DMV, and we're going to go ahead and get that taken care of. So we're going to get that just kind of like, hey, let's make sure this is good to go. So all of the paperwork that goes into that's always fun. So you guys are a little bit of a soccer power couple, I would say, right? Is that how you would phrase it?
Some may say.
Some may say. Okay, I like that. Michael, you played at UConn?
Yes, I played at community college my first year out of high school at Mount San Antonio College, and then transferred over to the University of Connecticut for 3 years.
Okay, so I know UConn as a basketball school. Don McClingan obviously played at UConn. Dan Hurley, the crazy man that he is, he's hopped on the show with us a few times. Yeah. What is soccer like at UConn when you're playing there?
Yeah, when I was there was no professional team, so we were the professional team. So we got in touch with all the local clubs, the youth clubs, and they would come to our games, and we would get about 6,000-7,000 fans a game, and it was on grass field, so it was a great experience. I mean, just to compete in the Big East and play against Pitt, play against Louisville, play against Georgetown. So it was a fun time.
You get to cover
Say that again.
You get to cover a large swath of land in the Big East. I guess it's one of the benefits.
Yep.
But I guess if you're playing now in the Big Ten, you get to go from New Jersey to LA. So it's a little bit of a weird spot now. Kendall, you're a local. You were at Lincoln, and now you guys are back here, and it's Kick It with Kendall, correct?
Yes.
And we were talking about before we came on air. And I think this is a big thing in sports. It's not just about the physical. It's not just about the recovery side of it and the mental training that goes along with it, but it's also the mental health space. Tell me about kind of what you guys are looking to accomplish with your endeavor.
Yeah, so soccer was my whole life playing, and I was very good at working hard and dedicating my life to the sport. Then I got injury, a big concussion that kind of completely blew up my world, and that's what first got me into if I don't have my body and mind and whole being right, I can't do the sport that I love. That in conjunction with now starting to do a lot of coaching, seeing the pressure that kids have, I feel like to unlock the fullest expression on the field, it's not just can I train the most hours, it's how can I tap into my creativity off the field? How can I make sure that I'm nourishing my body? We're athletes. Yeah, I feel like we often talk about quick fuel, like can you take the Powerade or the Gatorade drink, and we're disconnected from, I think, nature in some respects. Like I didn't know about the power of just drinking water from a spring, and that it has the natural elements and nutrients and minerals that we would need.
My fiance would love you. She wants, obviously I told you we were doing a baking company. She got a flour mill so that we could do fresh flour because of all the things that go into flour now, as opposed to natural. Natural flour does not stay on shelves for months on end.
Yes.
It goes bad in about a week to 10 days because of all the proteins and stuff that are into it. It turns out, as I say this with a Monster energy drink next to me, what you put into your body matters.
Yeah.
So along those lines, what age ranges are you working with right now?
Right now, working with anywhere from 10 to 19-year-olds.
Okay. And then obviously you're dealing with different, not only just like wavelengths, but just where they are in the development cycle, just not only physically but mentally. I have a 16-year-old stepson who, the time between 14 to 16 for a guy is very different from 16 to 18. So what are the things that you've kind of learned through this process, and how you have to go about preparing them or helping them understand or make those connections and make those the understanding of the mental health side of it? Because when you're talking to an 18 or 19-year-old, their ability to grasp those things, or maybe some hesitancies, can change alongside those things, and not only hesitancies but receptiveness. So kind of what have you learned through that process, and how you apply it across different age ranges?
All comes down to connecting with them, truly getting to know them, asking questions, what their why is, what their story is, where they come from, and then from there building kind of an ecosystem around what their genuine, authentic motivations are, not from their parents, not from their coaches, but what do they want to get out of the sport, and then helping them to build a relationship with it that truly feels life-giving to them.
I'm joined by Michael and Kendall Mercado. There you go. Make sure we get it right this time. And we're live here at PDXYZ at the Viking Pavilion. I want to say Cox Pavilion at UNLV, because I'm down there for summer league all the time. Every time I hear pavilion, it just pops into my head. Well, Michael, on the other side of this, what's it like for you to kind of like support her through this and kind of be a part of this, being a former athlete and knowing those kind of things that you had to go through, playing Big East soccer?
Yeah, I think we always preach to our teams. We want to give them the knowledge that we picked up later in life. Mm-hmm. So I think Kendall and I always talk and chit chat and support each other through.
We're passing on little kid pass off. Yep. Who's a name badge with cutest kid alive? So that's by far the best name tag I've seen. Mine just says Odyssey. So they aren't going to tag me cute. So yeah, just always looking over her work and talking about it together, and that's pretty much the main way I support her. And of course taking care of our child, and if I could take a load off of her with the day-to-day stuff, then I'll go and do that. And yeah. What's been the receptiveness to it from young kids? What are the kind of the barriers you've run into? What are the things you've kind of tackled and been able to go, oh, okay, we need to do this way? Or what have kind of been the wins for you in that regard?
The wins have been just really being able to connect with the kids and help them deepen their connection with the game. Mm-hmm. Barriers, I would say, have been everyone has different motivations, and sometimes what they say may actually not be what they truly feel deep down, so it just takes time. And I feel like in this world we want a lot of quick results, mm-hmm. or to know that things are going to happen, but that's just not life or how you create something sustainable. So just trusting in the process of it and knowing that each time we connect, it's slowly going to build, and each time they focus on themselves, it grows on each other, and just trust the process. Let it take time.
I feel like that is poignant, especially because we didn't have to navigate COVID as kids. And the age range you're talking about right now was smack dab in the middle of it. Like, what have you kind of seen and been able to observe and kind of help them? Because the lack of social exposure in that period, I don't want to say stunted, but the ability to grow as we all grew up, having interactions, not only in sports, but people want to talk about, how the isolation, but it's also, we didn't have the ability to play sports, or those guys didn't have the ability to play sports for, a year and a half, 2 years for some of them. They didn't have the socialization that comes with school. They didn't have all of the things that come along with that. So what have you kind of seen that's maybe different? Because our observance in that time period was a lot different than a lot of kids. So how have you been able to, I guess, look at that, navigate that, and just seeing kind of the differences where I think for generations we could apply a lot of the same lessons. We all have our generational traumas, but I feel like that one is holistically different just because of the impact on so many young kids. So how does that kind of impact things and where kids are in the ability to kind of walk through that?
Do you want to speak on that, or you want me to?
Go ahead, and then I'll.
Yes, very different. Like, if we're talking from a team setting, we'll be at team meals, and the natural propensity is just to have your phone. It's like a comfort thing, and I'm not used to that. We're really big on the connection, so we just have them when we're connecting, phones away. But also understanding that's just part of like their upbringing, and it is not. There are some. I don't know. Are there pros to it? Try to see pros to it. It's just not like you can't just all of a sudden make someone go from here to here, but trying to understand, like asking them about what TikToks are cool and just being able to connect. And
finding some vein there to draw
some
that
vein,
line
to connect with. But yeah, it is definitely a different.
The screen age of your generation is a little bit different than us.
Yeah, it is different.
Yeah. No, I think you said it there perfectly. Yeah.
What are you looking to do with this? You've been doing this now for, you said, was it 6 months?
6 months, yeah.
Where's kind of the hope to take this in the future?
The big dream right now, I'm a big dreamer, is to have a retreat space where we could take athletes and teach them about nutrition and wellness and taking care of their bodies, connecting to nature, having home-cooked meals, and just a place where, like preseason, the teams can come and really connect and build, like what I believe is way more important than the sports and the winning. It's just that community, that connection, that togetherness, and making sure that's never ever lost throughout the competition is great, but when it gets cutthroat at the cost of humans, I don't agree with that.
No, I mean, I think that's a point. You guys are a soccer family, so I'm sure you're aware of the club soccer economy and everything around that. And I've got a lot of family and friends in the San Diego area where you can't play soccer for less than a couple $1,000s a year, and the barriers to entry and the, like you said, the human cost of that and all the things that come along with that, the sacrifice and everything, like navigating that as a 12-year-old with maybe some parents that are living a little vicariously through you can be a little bit difficult, I think, at times. And I think it's awesome to see more people coming into that space and trying to help people navigate that, because it's become so much more than just playing a game. Whether it's football, baseball, basketball, you just go down the list, and 7-on-7 in football. It's AAU and EYBL in basketball. It's the club soccer and club baseball, and playing 12 games a week and no practices and all the things that come along with that. That it becomes sometimes stepping away from, not necessarily the game, but stepping away and doing the mental side of it gets lost in so much of this, because the sports world is such a results oriented and not a process oriented. And I've always said across the line, for me, I don't care what the result is if the process is bad. And if the process is good and the result doesn't come out, you can go back to the drawing board and keep doing that. So I'd love to hear that you guys are doing this. Where can folks find you, or how can they seek you out, or anything along those lines?
Website is kickitwithkendall.com, 2 L's at the end.
There you go. Make sure you get the 2 L's. Michael and Kendall Mercado, thank you guys for joining us. Hope you guys enjoy what we got going on up here. Coming up next, we will dive into the college football world again. Heroes and villains going around college football. What are we going to see as far as setting the table? The villains are easy to spot, but are the heroes out there, or can they be found? But first, we'll get to Casey with the Sports Center update here on 105.1 The Fan.
Now, from the George McCoy at Warren Allen Sports Desk, a Sports Center update on the Fan Sports Network, 105.1 FM and 1080 AM.
First on The Fan, tonight we get the official start of the NFL preseason as the Arizona Cardinals and the Carolina Panthers will face off in the annual Hall of Fame game at 5 p.m. in Canton, Ohio. Ahead of the game, some NFL news for you from around the league, as the Indianapolis Colts and running back Jonathan Taylor have reached an agreement on a 2-year, $44 million extension. The deal includes $39 million guaranteed, as the Colts lock down the player with the second most scrimmage yards and touchdowns since 2020. Over to the pitches, your Portland Timbers face off against Club Puebla in their first match of League's Cup. Kickoff is set for 7:30 tonight inside Providence Park, as you can catch all of tonight's coverage right here on 105.1 FM and 1080 AM when pregame kicks off at 6:30. Your Portland Fire are back in action tonight, hosting the Toronto Tempo inside the Moda Center. Tip-off set for 7 p.m., but make sure to catch all of tonight's Fire coverage over on 9:10 AM when pregame starts at 6:45. And finally, some NBA news for you, as the Phoenix Suns and forward Dylan Brooks have agreed on a 3-year, $73 million extension, tying him with the team through the 2029-2030 season. And for more sports scores and stories in 30 minutes, I'm Lowercase from the George McCoy at Warren Allen Sports Desk. Hurt, missing work? Insurance companies acting like jerks? Don't call your mom. Call George McCoy at WarrenAllen.com.
Your home for Seahawks football. The Fan Sports. Pavilion. This is the firm of Harris and Marang on 105.1 FM and 1080 AM. The Fan.
Shout out to Michael and Kendall Mercado joining us just last segment. Kick It with Kendall, where they're working in the youth sports space to just help kids. To be honest, it's awesome. You can go to kickitwithkendall.com and check them out and the things that they're doing. They were great, gracious for their time to jump on with us. We also were joined by Ro Vega and Stephanie Rogers. Ro is the CMO for the Seattle Sounders and Seattle Reign. Stephanie Rogers, the CMO of the San Francisco 49ers. She was kind enough to join us 2 years ago at this event, where she was then, I believe at the time, was the CMO of the Las Vegas Golden Knights. She's awesome. She's always great. And you can go back and catch all of those interviews at the podcast library at 105.1.com and wherever you get your podcasts. All right, we're going to pivot back to college football here for a little bit. I saw ESPN did their list of greatest college football villains of all time. And I started thinking about it. Who are the college football villains right now? Coaches, players, programs. And I feel like with the changes in college football, we went down the top 25 coaches poll that was released a couple days ago. Case, do you feel like there's villains in college football?
Oh, 100%.
Who are your villains right now?
My villains right now are easily Lane Kiffin.
Okay.
But Marcus Freeman is kind of becoming a villain for me.
Oh,
just because of Notre Dame and what Notre Dame's been doing over the past few years, they think that they're better than the rest of college football to an extent. And I think that he's kind of been he's just been their leader in all of that. And I think Notre Dame gets very under my skin in terms of how I look at them.
Yeah, you know what? I'll second that. Anytime you want to throw Notre Dame under the bus, I will go with that. Also, Marcus Freeman's too damn good looking. I have a rule. If you're gonna be really, 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 really good at something outside of like acting or singing, where like how you look matters the most, like especially if you're talking about athletes, you better be ugly. I need you to be ugly. I can't. You got to have a hairline that's busted. You got some teeth that are busted. You misshapen head. Like the whole the Cristiano Ronaldo, Alex Morgan, Tom Brady steel jaw. Like I need you to ugly it up. I need my greats to be a little goofy looking.
I'm with you there.
You know what I mean?
Greatest NFL quarterbacks of all time are all ugly people, at least when they entered the league.
You know what I mean? Like I need more of that. Look, this is gonna be. Dan Lanning, good-looking dude, right? Just all-American kind of. I think he looks like he'd be like Dirt's like half brother. Like he's fine. Like he's on the scale, right? But I need more. Like, I'm going to do this to you, Georgia. I need more Kirby Smarts.
I need more Kurt Signettis.
You know what I mean? I need some more tough. I need some more leathery. I need somebody who's spending a lot of time in the sun and doesn't wear sunscreen. You know what I mean?
Edo.
I need some more Edo in this. This Brent Venables nonsense of like, I can't have you getting the commissioner of the American Conference, Pernetti, like 6'4", jacked as could be, just jawline. You can use to cut open a can. Like, no, man. I need you to ugly the place up a little bit. So, we need more of that in college football. Marcus Freeman, get out of here. Villains though, like, I mean, obviously I'm biased. I don't like Notre Dame to begin with. But I just don't feel like they have the villainy that we've associated. Like Alabama was a villain. Georgia was a villain.
Yeah,
USC
the more
was a
I think
villain.
about it, I don't necessarily see them as villains. I just see them as very unlikable.
I feel like that's where we're at with this now. Is so many that it's just like, you're not a villain, you're unlikable. Dylan Raiola, now at Oregon when he's at Nebraska. I don't think he was a villain. I think he was maybe a little unlikable.
Oh, again, and he had some comments in the press a few days ago that was, again, not necessarily attacking Nebraska, but it was him saying, again, the guys that I work with now are a lot better than the guys that I worked with at Nebraska. So that can be taken two ways.
Yeah, when Oregon plays Nebraska next year, that'll be fun. I'm sure those comments will not see the light of day again. Those definitely won't be brought up at any kind of press conference or anything like that.
Comeuppance don't happen in college football at all.
No. I think obviously with Lane is viewed as a villain. LSU is viewed as a villain. You know, whether it's Lane, whether it's Mulkey, whether it's Will Wade, they have leaned into, whether you wanted to say extremely unlikable. I'm a Lane guy. Obviously bias notwithstanding, I like Lane. I think he's a damn good coach. I think he's funny. I also think he learns from his mistakes. I had him twice. I had him at USC and I had him at with the Raiders, and I've followed his path, and I think he's learned along the way. Maybe not learned everything, but I can definitely see the villain angle of it. I think Michigan maybe had a little bit of a villain angle, but they just kind of went into depressing. And when Kyle Whittingham is your head coach, you can't be a villain. Like he's
too likable.
It just can't be, right? Ole Miss is going to be a fun, likable story this year.
100%.
BYU and Notre Dame being the religious institutions, people are going to make their jokes, but nobody doesn't like Kalani Sitake. Bear Bachmeier, he's got bad intentions. Like, nobody's going to sit there and look at BYU and like, oh, they're a villain. Now, Utah's going to look at them as a villain, but is Texas Tech a villain?
Part of me wants to think that Texas Tech is a villain, but also, how is Indiana not a villain if Texas Tech's a villain?
Well, I mean, Tech, it's not just the money spending, it's the Sorsby of it all.
Where did Sorsby also come from?
Well, I know. But
so that's why, again, if we're going to say Texas Tech's a villain, then Cincinnati and Indiana are going to be the villains as well.
I mean, I think Cincinnati kind of leans into that, especially, you're talking about, like, at least from my era with Bob Huggins and the Huggy Bear basketball and the Kenyon Martin days. They had a little bit of villainy to them. I don't think they were unlikable. I mean, they had some of the sexiest jerseys in basketball at the time, and Kenyon Martin was putting people in the rim. But I think they leaned into the villainy angle of it. I mean, honestly, you look at the top 10, right? Ohio State, Oregon, Georgia, Texas, Notre Dame, Indiana, Miami, A&M, Oklahoma, Ole Miss. Miami, back in the U days, definitely villain. Texas in the Vince Young era, you could maybe argue villain, but I think they were, even though they beat USC, I think USC was more villainy at that point in time. Yeah, you could argue
that then Texas flipped around and they were the heroes during the Colt McCoy era.
Yeah, Texas is back, and here we go again. Georgia had a little bit of villainy angle, but I think they were overshadowed by the Saban villainy era. So when you dive into that, like, I don't think Oregon's ever going to be a villain. Number one, I think to be like a villain, here's my not so veiled shot at Oregon. You gotta have a trophy in the case. Ohio State can be a villain. Georgia can be a villain.
You need some hardware.
Texas can be a villain. Notre Dame villain. Hell, Indiana can be a villain. Miami can be a villain. Oklahoma can be a villain. Alabama can be a villain. LSU, USC, you can be villains. Michigan State, you can be villains. You've got hardware to go in there. I think that's what becomes the galvanizing force of villainy. Is you get too successful. You become a bit of a problem. Like, how many programs do we have in the country right now where I'll use the Houston Texans as kind of an example. I don't think the Texans are a villain, but I think you see them on a schedule and you're like, oh, this is going to suck. Like, how many programs you look at on a schedule right now, you look at the identity of the program and you're like, oh, this is going to suck. You know what I mean? And I'm talking about like Oregon's a great team, and you're probably not going to beat them.
I'm with you there. I'm not. Is Oklahoma that team this year? Like, because I'm trying to just look around just based off of this AP college, this coaches poll, based off the teams that are in that top 15 that we discussed, who is a team that people fear on their schedule? There's the have to games, and this is the game that's going to cement us to be the championship team or to have that bid into the college football playoff exactly where we need to be. I'm just looking around. Is A&M the team that knocks people off? Is Oklahoma the team that knocks people off? Who's the team that people fear on their schedules the most?
And that's the thing is, like, coming into last season, remember, Indiana lost their big games. Like, I don't really know. Well, they were 10-2 the year before, right? Well, they come in and they dog walk everybody. Now, you can say the Ohio State game, they didn't dog walk anybody, but I think Indiana was in control of that game. Other than that, they went out there and they smacked people around. And Sig talked his mess and went from there and decided, you know what? You Google me again.
It's just what I do.
So that's on the villain side of it. I want to spend a little bit of time. Are there any heroes in college football? I mean, obviously we have the Heisman greats, the Tebows, and you could say the anti-heroes and the Johnny Manziels and the Baker Mayfields. Like, are there heroes in college football? I want to get to that next year on the Firm of Harrison Marang, 105.1, The Fan.
The new home of the The Firm of Harris and Marang on the Fan Sports Network, 105.1 and 1080 The Fan.
I jumped the gun with the program there. It's Web Gems because I'm an idiot. This is what happens when you're live on location. You're moving things around in your show sheet because interviews pop up back and forth and everything else that goes along with it. I don't know if you guys got this when I was out or not, Case. I tuned into the show a little bit here or there because I was running a million errands. I don't know if you knew this. I have a wedding in 17 days. Did you guys dive into the bookie for Ipe Mizuhara at all?
No, we haven't.
Ooh,
that 30
buddy.
for 30 podcast is getting interesting.
Ooh, buddy. For those who haven't seen it, the betrayal of Shohei Ohtani is out there. So Ipe showed, I love this, showed signs of problem gambling within 30 days of betting with him. It's like, wait, what? Maybe that's the thing. I mean, if you're the book, you're just trying to make money. But the quote here is, he was trying to dig out of a hole, and that hole made him even more poor of a gambler because he's betting big payout stuff. So this guy, within a month of betting, was so deep in it. He was like, I'm just going to dig the hole deeper. And where do you go from that? And it's like, reminder, Mizuhara took almost $17 million from Shohei Ohtani. Number one, how nice would it be to not notice $17 million gone? Like, that alone is crazy to think about.
That, again, not to have to worry about 17 M's, that's a good life.
The bookie said that he recognized Mizuhara's behavior because he himself is a compulsive gambler. No way. The bookie is a compulsive gambler. Who could have seen? Don't get high on your own supply, folks. But the interpreter's betting still surprising. This is from the bookie. Listen, I gambled bigger than most, right? I sleep, I have a life too. He was definitely betting all night long. I've never seen anything like it. Mizuhara is... he did plead guilty to bank fraud and filing a false tax return, and he's serving a 57-month prison sentence at a federal penitentiary in central Pennsylvania. The bookie pled guilty to laundering money, running an illegal gambling business, and filing a false tax return. That's the thing I don't think people realize. If you're like a professional gambler, or professional gamblers, you should realize this. But if you're thinking like, I can make money gambling, you don't just get to keep all that money. You got to file tax returns. Like that comes along with that. Like if you're in Vegas and you hit a big cash out, you got to fill out the paperwork. Like you got to do all the things that come along with that. You don't just go, I won $500,000. No, you won like $260,000. Don't get me wrong, still dope, but they're going to come in there. The government's going to take that. I've always found that strange. We'll get mildly political here. As a military member, I pay taxes, right? Unless I'm in a hazardous duty zone, and then I get tax-free. But I pay taxes to pay my salary. That seems kind of weird, right? That's kind of a weird thing. That's kind of a weird quirk about being in that world is like my money that I get for a salary literally comes out of my paycheck. Mm-hmm. Like that feels like, money laundering in itself.
That feels rather redundant.
Like whoa, what are we doing here? But the other part of this is that Nevada casinos have agreed to pay roughly $34 million in fines after the investigation that failed to prevent Bauer from laundering millions of dollars, which included Ohtani's money. Nevada Gaming Commission permanently banned him from entering casinos in April in Nevada, making him one of about 36 living people in what the state calls their black book. Think about that. Think about all of the nefarious stuff that happens at Nevada casinos, the back alley kneecappings and all the things that come along with that. 36 people in the entire state are permanently banned from casinos. So if you're wondering, that's the eye in the sky. All the cameras. Do not set foot. Do not enter. Do not go check that out. Like that's... Like if you're gonna be on a disastrous list of books of do not enter, do not pass go, that feels like one of those ones you really like. How do I phrase this? The impact of being on one of those is not great.
Yeah, that one has a dangerous ripple effect.
You know what I mean? Like if you're on a no-fly list, you're about to have probably a bad time trying to fly, and that's certainly more prohibitive. But you're not going to disappear. You know what I mean? Like, if you walk into one of these, one of these big casinos that has all the security and everything around it, that seems like the kind of thing, like, even if you have a gambling addiction and you really just love the casino, that feels like maybe the place you shouldn't go, right?
I think you're right on that one.
I don't know, man. I look at that and I go, ew, that's a crazy place to be. The more we get into this, the more we find out it's just, I don't know, man. Boyer went on to describe how he laundered money. He goes, sometimes I would gamble solely to turn a cashier's check into cash so that I could wash money. He said, so let's say I lost 70 grand, but I brought 500,000. I got 430,000 coming to me, right? Like, this guy was willing to bet away money just so he could wash it. That's the depravity of this. Like, how far down the pole it went. And you're just sitting there going, why? What are we doing here? Like, Case, I'm going to put you on the spot here. What is the largest bet you've ever made on a single thing financially, if you're comfortable?
Oh, I hit a UFC. It was a 13-leg parlay. I threw a single dollar down. I made $760.
Okay, what fight was this?
It was, I believe it was a Rose Namajunas, Kamaru Usman. This might have been 2020.
Oh, okay. So you got the 13. Was it all UFC events?
Yeah, it was all UFC events.
So it was basically the whole card.
Yeah, so it was April 24th. I'm sorry, it was 2022. It was her loss against Carla Esparza. That parlay that I hit on that fight was ridiculous.
13
UFC
legs?
274 it was Charles Oliveira, Michael Chandler, Carla Esparza, Ovin St. Preux, Randy Brown, and Brandon Royval. So I hit pretty much every fight on this card.
That's bonkers. I don't touch parlays. I'm a single ticket line, single line kind of guy. That's just the way it goes. Like, even with my national champion pick with Michigan, everything there was all single tickets. And I'm one of those weirdos that when I gamble, even if I'm making multiple picks, not parlays, I have to have single tickets for everything.
My biggest thing for when it comes to UFC is I'll place a bet on the main card. Like, if I have confidence in 3 fights, I'll parlay those 3 fights. But in terms of just the sheer amount of fights in the early prelims, the prelim card, and the main card, I'll throw $1 down on all those fights and see if I hit them. Okay.
My single biggest wins, I put $1,000 down on USC Oregon when USC upset number 2 Oregon, and I put what was it? Yeah, well, no, it was 2. No, that is my biggest. My single biggest is the Blazers over win total in 2016 when it was 26.5. I put $2,000 down on that because 26.5 wins for that team was absolutely bonkers, and thank you, Las Vegas. Payouts on those were very nice. I did appreciate that. So that paid for my trip to Vegas that year and then some. So
how much is your Michigan one, if you don't mind me asking?
I put $100 down on that, so I'm gonna make. I think it was plus 450. So I'll make 450 out of it.
That's a sweet deal.
Yeah. So I'll come out nice there. I was pretty confident in that pick. So I think it was the single biggest pick that I made was that one. Everything else was like 20 to 25. So, and I think I ended up hitting something like 90% of my picks that year. I've done really good at A-Day the last 3 years. So
I've also been really good at hitting Super Bowl bets. When it comes to touchdown scores, I think I've hit the last 3 Super Bowls. I think I've hit at least 1 on every one. I had a
anytime touchdown or first touchdown?
Anytime. Well, so the first one that I hit was I had the first 3 touchdowns. So I parlayed A.J. Brown first touchdown, Jalen Hurts to rush one in, and Travis Kelce. Well, I also hedged myself just based off the coin toss. So I had the Chiefs, who was the matchup. So it was the Chiefs against the Eagles. I did 2 bets. One of them was A.J. Brown, Jalen Hurts, and Travis Kelce scoring the first 3. The other one was Travis Kelce. I think Edwards-Helaire was the running back, or Pacheco was the running back at the time. So it was just all based off of the coin toss.
Oh, so we're making adjustments on coin toss for first touchdown?
Oh yeah, for first touchdown scores. Yeah, that was one where I hit it. I think it was $5 to make 200 on A.J. Brown's. When A.J. Brown caught that deep ball from Jalen Hurts, I had a little moment.
Okay, I like that. I can respect that. Well, since you're the hero of the 13-leg parlay, let's dive into. We had a little pivot there. In hour number 3 here, let's dive into some college football heroes. Like, do those exist anymore? We maybe have a couple villains, but do we have some college football heroes as we get ready to head into the 2026 college football season? We'll get to that and more here in hour number 3 of Harrison Marang, or the firm of Harrison Marang, here live on location at Viking Pavilion here for PDXYZ.
Now, from the George McCoy and Warren Allen Sports Desk, a Sports Center update on the Fan Sports Network, 105.1 FM and 1080 AM.
First on the Fan, it's the official start of the NFL preseason tonight as the Arizona Cardinals and the Carolina Panthers will face off in the annual Hall of Fame game in Canton, Ohio at 5 p.m. Ahead of the game, some NFL news from around the league as the Indianapolis Colts and running back Jonathan Taylor have reached an agreement on a 2-year, $44 million extension. The deal includes $39 million in guarantees as the Colts lock down the player with the second most scrimmage yards and touchdowns since 2020. Over to the pitch as your Portland Timbers face off against Club Puebla in their first match of League's Cup. Kickoff is set for 7:30 tonight inside Providence Park, as you can catch all of tonight's coverage right here on 105.1 FM and 1080 AM when pregame kicks off at 6:30. Your Portland Fire are back in action tonight, hosting the Toronto Tempo inside the Moda Center. Tip-off set for 7 p.m., but make sure to catch all of tonight's Fire coverage over on 9:10 a.m. when pregame starts at 6:45. And finally, some NBA news for you as the Phoenix Suns and forward Dillon Brooks have agreed to a 3-year, $73 million extension, tying him with the team through the 2029-2030 season. And for more sports scores and stories in 30 minutes, I'm Casey Smith from the George McCoy at Warren Allen Sports Desk. Hurt, missing work? Insurance companies acting like jerks? Don't call your mom. Call George McCoy at warrenallen.com.
The home of primetime.
I'm not going to say agree to disagree, but I really don't like you right now.
The firm of Harris and Marang on the Fan Sports Network, 105.1 and 1080. The Fan.
Hour number 3 here on the firm of Harris and Marang, live on location at the Viking Pavilion, in which there's a big cheer. A big cheer. I don't know. It's
Big little crowd pop there.
Yeah, well, I like it. The presenters are down in the bowels of the arena here. We're up here right on the edge. If you're watching on YouTube, youtube.com/1051 The Fan. You can see all the good folks down there checking the festivities out here and the presenters and speakers and all that kind of stuff. Quite a few people here. Dame will be here a little bit later, Damian Lillard. We will be off on location here. Also, Justin Joyner, the head coach at Oregon State. I believe we're supposed to be joined by him, and his wife is the head soccer coach at University of Oregon. Mitch Canham is around here as well, so your Beavs are well represented, their case.
Go Beavs!
I'm kind of hoping we get both Canham and Joyner, because I'm very interested to talk to those guys. Canham obviously been very, very, very successful at Oregon State, one of the foremost baseball programs in the country. Has kept it going from all of the successes of the past 15, 20 years now. It's going to be interesting. It's going to be interesting. So, but I want to get into before we went into Web Gems, we're talking about villains and heroes in college football. And I don't think we found a ton of real villains in college football, which makes me wonder, do we have a ton of heroes in college football? I think you could argue Tim Tebow would be a hero in college football.
Oh, 100%.
Again, I use Johnny Manziel as kind of an anti-hero in college football. When you look about college football right now, Case, who do you see any heroes? Do you see, like, even though USC I think had the banner maybe as villain, I think Reggie Bush was certainly a hero of college football. I think Fernando Mendoza was a little bit of a hero of college football. Not only clean cut Nando, but also the story with his mom, everything that kind of comes along with that. Obviously, we get the very sad, just rip your guts out NFL draft stories every year, where we get to kind of see some of the heroes that came out of college football. But when you look around college football right now, do you see heroes? Like, do you have like a list of things that you check? It's a weird spot, right?
Yeah, part of me thinks, again, the Beaver in me is saying, don't say it. But part of me wants to say Dante Moore is slowly becoming the hero of his own story, where now, again, he had his bad game, had his mess up and his setback, in the same way that every Marvel movie and every hero story starts out with the villain slapping you in the face around a little bit. He's going to come back, and I want to say he's going to be much more dominant this year than he ever has been. Obviously, last year he had a great season, but I think he's going to start coming out as the hero in this year's college football story, because I think he's just too dang likable.
That's an interesting proposition. I think a lot of heroes of college football very often is tied to success. But it's also, I think, Mendoza gets maybe a little bit of that nod because the success came from Indiana, right? This isn't a quarterback at Georgia or a quarterback at Texas or a quarterback
we love the underdog story.
And that's what's really interesting. Have you looked at the Heisman odds?
Not yet. I'll check them out right now. Hit me.
So I've got them in front of me. You probably look now. Do you know who's number one in all the books?
C.J. Carr.
Yes. Every book has C.J. Carr as the Heisman favorite. And I thought Carr was really good last year. freshman quarterback being that successful. I know Julian Sand got a lot of the love and Arch Manning got a lot of love, but
yeah, but that's still really surprising, especially when you graduate and get rid of or
lose your two best running backs.
Your two best running backs again, 2 first-round talents that got drafted this year's draft. And what's a quarterback's best friend?
And being able to hand that ball off.
It's a running game.
As you go down the Heisman list, C.J. Carr is number 1, Arch Manning number 2, my guy at Miami, Darian Mensah, number 3. The guy you mentioned, Dante Moore, is number 4.
What are his odds at right now?
The book that I'm looking at right now has him at plus 1,200. I think in general, hold on, I had the combined list. His best number, I believe, is at FanDuel at plus 900. His highest number is at plus 1,200. So he's in that 900 to 1,200
Yeah, I've got him at plus 1,200, but a name that you didn't mention that I'm seeing at plus 900 on FanDuel right now, Trinidad Chambliss.
Indeed.
And I think that's going to be the hero. Again, I've talked myself out of Dante Moore. Trinidad Chambliss is the hero. His coach left him. He's working with his offensive coordinator. This story is the one to watch.
And that's where I was going to go with this. I think Mensah and Chambliss are going to be guys that get a lot of noise around them. Jeremiah Smith, I think you can argue, is the best player in college football. Julian Sane is obviously the Ohio State monster that it is. I think he might kind of take away from some of that. Josh Hoover at Indiana, I think, has potential to be that, and if Indiana is the team that I think they're going to be. Gunnar Stockton at Georgia, I think, is an interesting one, just because he doesn't fit your prototypical, very successful quarterback in the upper echelons. Now he does it at Georgia outside of Matthew Stafford, but I look around college football. Number 1 in the Heisman category, it's quarterback, wide receiver. Jeremiah Smith is your one non-quarterback.
He's your top non-QB.
And then you get to Malachi Toney, who's at plus 3,500. So you got to go quite a ways.
And that's one that bums me out a little bit, because even if Darian Mensah has a fantastic year, a lot of it I'm probably going to end up crediting it to to Toney.
Right, and then again, Mensah transfers from Duke to Miami and fills in for Carson Beck, and that's one of those situations where you kind of just go, I mean, that's pretty plug and play. And like as Harris and I have kind of talked about, and obviously you were there, you were behind the glass with us. If Darian Mensah's at Miami last year, does Miami knock off Indiana? In my thought, I think so. I think Mensah's a better quarterback than Carson Beck.
That's one I'm not quite sold on. Carson Beck.
You want to see it?
That's one I have to see, because Carson Beck is one of those guys where
wildly successful.
On paper, you look at him and you say, all right, we have this matchup, we have this matchup, we have this matchup. All right, I think we win this. But Carson Beck is a guy that says exactly what this drop.
But let us get on the line, boy, and see if that factors in. I guarantee you it won't.
No, that's going to be an interesting spot about this, and kind of seeing where that goes. The one thing I'm kind of wondering is, are there any coaches in college football? We kind of dabble with maybe a little Marcus Freeman, maybe a little Signetti. Are there any coaches in college football that you see as heroes? Because I've got one in that I think Kyle Whittingham at Michigan can kind of be seen as a hero if he kind of restores, not success, but order.
If he can restore the order and the confidence that the fan base and that everyone, I guess, has in Michigan football and the Michigan football program, I think I'm with you there. But I'm also...
It's time to nut up or shut up.
Every time this guy gets on a microphone, he says something that it just makes me like him a little more. I really love Dan Lanning.
Look, I the scale of which I don't like the Ducks, but also love Dan Lanning, you couldn't get two more polar opposites.
Exactly. I could not agree with you more there.
I think he's a phenomenal coach. He's a top 5 coach in the country. I love his attitude. I love who he is. I love the identity. He's been, obviously, him and his staff have been great on the recruiting trail. Like, Oregon has, in my lifetime, the first real national power staying power. Like, I don't look at Oregon like the Chip Kelly era. It was fun. You know what I mean? The Bellotti era, with Joey and those guys, they were really good, but it wasn't, the identity changed. And now this is the first time since Bellotti, once the season kicks off, that the Ducks will have the head coach at the helm for 5 years straight since him. So that's staying power. That's identity. And Lanning is likable, whether it's the sound bites of playing for clicks, we play for wins, and all the stuff that kind of comes along with that. Zinning it up or getting real excited or saying it's over at Penn State. I think that one could have backfired a little bit, but the other one I'll toss to you, Pete Golding at Ole Miss.
Yep, that's definitely one that everyone's going to be looking forward to. Hearing what he has to say, not only if he throws little pot shots at Lane, or if he's just, guys, my team is real good. I have Trinidad Chambliss. I think we'll be okay.
And that's what I'm really interested in, to see what that looks like. The combination of Golding and Chambliss, like, that's about as underdoggy. There we go, my voice completely disappeared. That's about as underdoggy as it gets. Your head coach leaves, and you think you may lose your quarterback, and they make a run in the college football playoff, and like they have success. Chambliss has that insane play where he scrambles forever, then fires it down the field. Like, I feel like that, if you're looking to pinpoint a hero of college football, it might be like a co-heroes. It might be Golding and Chambliss, Chambliss and Golding. That sounds like a great law firm name, speaking of law firms. To actually get down that path, if I had to pick one early season, I think that's ultimately where I'm going to land.
I think I'm with you there.
And then we can burn everything else to the ground, because there's not a lot of heroes and there's not a lot of villains. But I feel like there's going to be a lot of storylines in college football. All right, we've gone all show without it. I think we're going to clear 10 days. Case I may need you to update the board for me. I think we'll get to 11 days. But there were some discussions at City Hall, with the county. There have been some votes that have taken place, and there's also some talk about like what relocation fees could be. It wouldn't be a day here on the radio or in the media in Portland without talking to Moda Center, the Trailblazers, and everything around that. We'll get to that next. And also, it's a 10 toes down Thursday, so if you got 10 toes in, it's my fault. I didn't get that out early. I've been scattered, and we're trying to look at this. And Case, be on the standby.
Yeah, we got a few. I got a few for you.
Okay, and if we need to bag them, we may need to bag them depending on whether or not we get some more interviews or not. I'm starting to try to track some people down, and we may need to adjust here at the end of the show. But we'll get to all that and more live produced on air here on the Firm of Harris and Marang, 105.1 The Fan. All right, we're going to call a little bit of a hot route here. As we said, we're live on location at the Viking Pavilion here for PDXYZ. I'm thrilled to say that we are joined now. I had an idea that you were coming on. I just didn't know where our schedule was on this. Bill Slough, you're the CIO?
Correct. Chief Information Officer.
Chief Information Officer with the San Francisco Giants. So we're keeping a pretty big area here. We had Stephanie Rogers on, who's the CMO of the 49ers. So going back to the Bay here, I worked in intelligence in the military, so I'm a very analytically driven person. So when I'm like, oh, hey, somebody who works on the information side and the analytics side of everything, you have been down there for, you're telling me, 28 years?
This is my 28th season, yeah.
Wow. 28 years with the San Francisco Giants. You guys have had some success in that time period.
Not this season, but over the course of our time there, yes, we've seen the Barry Bonds era, the new ballpark, the Barry Bonds era, the championship era, and hopefully starting a new era beginning maybe next season.
There you go. You're obviously Buster was there in that very successful era, and then he was transitioning into the front office. You guys made some changes here at the deadline where, like you said, you're looking forward to next year. And this is what I always say this about not just front offices, but organizations. If you're trying to do stuff and not going with the status quo and making changes, and if something doesn't work, being able to make that change or bail out of it, I feel is a sign of a strong organization, as obviously the Giants have been. When you look at holistically in 28 years, what are the things that you've learned, the trends that you've picked up and have gone away and had to mature through and adjust to? Because I feel like baseball for the majority of my life was pretty static in a lot of the changes, but in the past decade, whether it's rules around the shift, bases getting bigger, ABS, pitch clocks, so many different changes over the last decade. What has that kind of path been like over almost 3 decades?
Yeah, man. Definitely for sports fans, you think of baseball as a very traditional sport. It's been around forever, the Giants since 1883, and you've got records that you talk about dating back 50, 100 years. And so the continuity of the rules of the game and the number of games, it's changed a few times going way back, but there's a real value to that. And you want to be able to compare Barry Bonds to Babe Ruth or Mark McGwire or whoever might be over the years. And so you got to be careful about changing too much with the ball or the distances, or you're not going to go to 7 innings versus 9 innings. You can't make those types of changes. So the changes more recently, I feel like, have been brought about by fan feedback about our game being, too long and too much dead time. And there is a lot of dead time in a baseball game, but each of our sports are different, and we want to embrace that. But honestly, the biggest change for the fans, I think, was the pitch clock. And that was really a game changer. And what's cool is that it seems like some of these changes more recently, the larger bases is a really small one, but that's about injury and maybe increasing excitement around stolen bases. The shift, banning the shift or limiting the shift, I think has been positive in terms of enabling players to get more hits and more action in a game. And ABS has been great just in terms of getting it right. And it also adds a moment in the game, a moment of excitement. But the biggest game changer has definitely been the pitch clock. And where it really hit home for me was last summer I went to watch a game in Japan. And they don't have a pitch clock in Japan. And we've only had the pitch clock for a few years, But if you try to go back to the pre-pitch clock era and you're someone who goes to games, it is like interminable. I mean, I could not believe I had to pull out my watch for how long it was between pitches, especially in the late innings, because the pitchers use that as a weapon. And honestly, I'm a coach and a dad of a kid who plays, and I encourage him to vary his time on the mound, because it is a weapon you can use. But it is not good for fans to watch a pitcher just sitting there.
Massage the ball a little bit, wipe the brow.
So it has been, I think, universally applauded. Most of these changes have, even though they break the tradition. Oh, there's no clock in baseball. But I think it has really improved the game. And that's just a fan-facing on the field side. I mean, over 28 years, I've seen so many innovations and positive changes. I think macro, the ones that have made the biggest difference, there's so many, man. I mean, with our video board technology, you went from like barely even full color to HD to 4K, and these screens are massive. So that's one. Wireless has changed everything. I mean, you go way back.
Maybe a little too much for some organizations.
Could be, yes. Fair enough, but just being able to allow fans, like, again, back to baseball, for us, our philosophy with bringing wireless to the park, and we were the first to do it back at it was SBC or AT&T Park at that time, was we recognized that this game is not going to captivate you for every moment of those back then 3 hours and 15 minutes, now 2.5 hours. And we got 81 of these games too. And if you're going to be coming to a bunch of these games, you're going to have some other things to do. And so the iPhone and mobile devices changed everything. And we have had fans for years come to a game, especially with the success the Warriors and the Niners have had, come to the game and watch the Warrior game, watch the Warrior playoff game, watch a Niner. Are you kidding me? On a Sunday in late baseball season with a team that's not necessarily in contention, you think people are going to show up if they can't stay connected today? And so that was a game changer. What better place to enjoy your fantasy football Sunday than a Giants game at Oracle Park, watching baseball, following your fantasy football team? Or in April, how about the Masters? And historically, it's funny, when we first launched Wi-Fi, we're like, okay, what are going to be the busiest days? And you look over the course. Was it our biggest crazy comeback win in terms of wireless use? No. It's the Masters and Warriors playoff games and NFL Sundays are the biggest days for consumption of Wi-Fi at the park. And we love that. We embrace that. We're baseball, man. It's a long game. Enjoy the view of the bay. Follow your fantasy football team, but come to our park because it's a great place to commune with others who share a passion for sports and watch Giants baseball.
We're joined by Bill Schlaus, the CIO of the San Francisco Giants. I've been in sports media for 15 years, worked with front offices and coaches and general managers and folks who work in analytics. I think fans, for the most part, understand what a GM does. They understand what an owner does. They understand what a coach does, at least on the top level. What is the day-to-day, season-long run as a CIO for an MLB team?
So at the macro level, my job CIO stands for Chief Information Officer. It might be a dated title because sometimes I do get random phone calls and emails from people who are looking for media relations, and that because it's information. Yeah. But really, it's about leveraging technology to enable all of the different departments and business units at the Giants to achieve whatever they're seeking to achieve. So whether that's on the baseball side, to win baseball games. And how do you win baseball games? There's 3 ways to do it. First, you start by evaluating talent, scouting, finding the best talent, then developing that talent once it's in your system, and then third, putting those positioning and equipping those players to win at the major league level. So those 3 levels, and technology plays a huge role in all of those areas. And so my job is to vet, evaluate, implement these technologies to achieve all of those goals within baseball. And baseball's just half the organization. The other half is business. And so on the business side, each of our business units has objectives that they're trying to achieve, whether it's to sell more tickets or to increase fan satisfaction, provide a better entertainment experience for fans. And it could be stuff that's mundane behind the scenes for a company like any. So it could be, let's like finance and HR and all those systems. So my team's role is to leverage technology and to oversee the technology that enables all those groups to achieve their goals. And what I love the most about it, there's a lot of things I love the most about it, but one of the best parts about it is I've been there 28 years, and it's always changing. Technology is always evolving, so it's not like we're doing the same thing we were 5 years ago or even last year. So it never gets old.
That's interesting. You said something there that was pretty poignant for me as far as the technology side of things, and that's vetting technology. Just because something comes to market, or baseball has been kind of at the forefront of analytics, I think, across sports for the longest of times. And you can go, it's not just the Bill James era, it's pre that, it's just in different versions. But when you talk about vetting technology, what are the kind of, what are the kind of spaces that you guys look at without getting too much into the black box of it all, of like something that comes to market or something that's developed in-house? Because I know a lot of organizations have their own proprietary systems, but like when you're going through those processes, what are some of the things that you've not necessarily implemented, but I mean, even if you have implemented or run up against something where you're like, we really like the components of X, Y, and Z, but the A, B, and C of this doesn't really make sense either for baseball or for us as an organization?
Yeah, good question, man. I think let me just start about where that vetting process, how it works. We are the technology experts, or we're responsible for technology. We're not the experts in the various functions, right?
Sure.
So if I'm dealing with our player development staff and they're focused on some biomechanic analysis system, we're not adding a ton of value in terms of the actual features of that product. Where I think we bring the most value is what's really cool is, like, in baseball, there's 30 teams, and on any given day, you got 2 teams on the field that are trying to win. But in the whole scheme of things, we're all part of one industry, and we only compete on the field. Otherwise, we're all part of baseball, and we're collaborating. So every day, literally, I'm talking to my counterparts at other teams, and we're comparing notes on the technology we're using and challenges we face. Not on the baseball competitive advantage technologies, but on everything else. And what's cool, I learned a few years ago, as I get distracted by a giant dancing hot dog in front of me.
He's trying to give you a fist pound. He's got the fist out for you.
Little fist bump there. Yep.
That's the Portland Bangers.
Real time. I gotta be on my toes here.
Welcome to Portland.
But what's cool is that with the other sports teams, and we did this about 15, 20 years ago, we travel to other cities each year. This year we're going to Pittsburgh. Every year we do 1 or 2 other cities, and we'll meet with the other teams. This year we're going to meet with the Penguins and always the baseball team, the Pirates. But one year we went to Miami, and we met with the Dolphins, and we met with the Heat. And the Heat had somebody in basketball analytics who was from the Bay Area. And he was like, dude, let me show you the stuff we're using. That does not happen in baseball. But when we meet with other teams in other sports, especially outside our market, they'll open it all up for us, because who cares?
The competitive advantage is lost.
I'm not going to share that with the Warriors. They get that. And so that's where, like, great ideation comes when you're talking to the other sports. Tomorrow night, I've got the CEO and a team from the Korean baseball organization coming to our ballpark to meet with us and compare notes. So all the time, we are meeting with other teams across other sports as well, and learning from them and vetting different technologies, and say, how might, like Hawkeye technology that we use today. I mean, I think Hawkeye started in tennis, if I think back.
There was tennis, then the soccer. The NBA tried to implement it, and it took them a year and a half to figure it out, because they weren't used to that many indexes on a court or a field that small.
Yeah.
And it took them, I want to say, almost 18 months to use that, because they moved away from the spectrum tracking cameras, and it ended up becoming a bit of a nightmare for them as far as the tracking data.
So, I mean, hey, that goes with the territory when you're on the leading edge, which we love to be. But I think I'm answering your question in saying that, the vetting part oftentimes is just traveling around. I mean, here I am in Portland. Yesterday I was in Vegas. I'll be meet with KBO tomorrow, and then I'm in LA over the weekend. And I'm always visiting with other teams, visiting other stadiums, even outside the industry. I've been to Europe and soccer stadiums out there, and no matter like how podunk the town is or how low budget a team might be, they're always doing something we're not doing. They're doing something better than us, and so I always I love collaborating with folks across sports and sometimes out of sports. You think about like the way we price our tickets and how that worked, implementing dynamic pricing. That came from the airline industry. So it's all about, meeting with others, getting references, learning how they do things, and then seeing how can we bring that back to the Giants to help us either win more baseball games or put more butts in seats, provide a greater fan experience, whatever it might be.
Awesome. Well, hey, we're up against it right now. Thank you for taking the time, Bill. I want you to stay here after, and I would have picked your brain on this stuff because this is all stuff. I want to trade jobs for a couple days. I would love to be on the other side of that. But coming up next, we are going to get to 10 Toes Down. I think as long as we don't have anybody else, I don't think anybody else is heading our way. So, Case, you can go ahead and put that in the rotator. And we'll get to that next. But here is Casey with a Sports Center update on 105.1 The Fan.
Now, from the George McCoy at Warren Allen Sports Desk, a Sports Center update on the Fan Sports Network, 105.1 FM and 1080 AM.
This sports update is brought to you by Laurelhurst Market Steakhouse and Butcher Shop, a great spot for any occasion. And don't forget, you save 10% on your Butcher Shop order when you dine in. Menus and more at laurelhurstmarket.com. First on the Fan, tonight we get the official start of the NFL preseason as the Arizona Cardinals and the Carolina Panthers will face off in the annual Hall of Fame game at 5 p.m. in Canton, Ohio. Ahead of the game, some NFL news from around the league as the Indianapolis Colts and running back Jonathan Taylor have reached an agreement on a 2-year, $44 million extension. The deal includes $39 million guaranteed as the Colts lock down the player with the second most scrimmage yards and touchdowns since 2020. Over to the pitch as your Portland Timbers are facing off against Club Puebla in their first match of Leagues Cup. Kickoff set for 7:30 inside Providence Park as you can catch all of tonight's coverage right here on 105.1 FM and 1080 AM when pregame kicks off at 6:30. Your Portland Fire are back in action tonight hosting the Toronto Tempo inside the Moda Center. Tip-off set for 7 p.m. in that one, but make sure to catch all of tonight's Fire coverage over on 9:10 AM when pregame starts at 6:45. And finally, some NBA news for you as the Phoenix Suns and forward Dylan Brooke have agreed to a 3-year, $73 million extension, tying him with the team through the 2029-2030 season. And for more sports scores and stories in 30 minutes, I'm Lowercase from the George McCoy at Warren Allen Sports Desk. Hurt, missing work? Insurance companies acting like jerks? Don't call your mom. Call George McCoy at warrenallen.com.
Sports Saturday with FM, 1080 AM. The Fan.
Shout out Bill Schlau, the CIO of the San Francisco Giants, who just joined us. I wanted to continue picking his brain, and I did afterwards. What happened before that interview, Bill sat down, we were talking, and he asked me if I'm a baseball fan. I said, yeah, I'm a Cardinals fan. He's like, you want to hold my World Series ring? And it was the World Series ring where they knocked off the Cardinals on the way to the World Series. So that was
We
really
suck
cool
again.
of him. And it was not one of the team World Series rings were like I don't want to say lower level, but non-executive suite. Like his was a real World Series ring. This thing had some weight to it. Very much that case. Very much that. This thing.
He just dropped it on the table.
He's like, you want to wear it? I did. I put it on.
You
I
had
was
to for a
I was
second.
like, oh,
you're not turning that down,
bro. My hand was weighted down to the ground. This thing was a truck. So it was the third World Series that they had in that era, and it's got 3 fat diamonds at the top to signify that run, and then the 5 others they have on the bottom. That was for 3 and 5 years. So they had 3 for the titles, and then 5 smaller diamonds for the 5 years. And then he goes, if you look on the inside of that, I can't tell. My eyes are a little shoddy. You can see each round who they beat, and I'm just sitting there like, there's a 4-1 series win over the Cardinals in there. It was a little tough to swallow, but I'll put my pride aside to put on a ring that's probably $200,000.
Hide the money, y'all. There's poor people around.
So, but Bill was awesome, awesome guest. And again, you can catch all of our guest appearances, all the interviews that we had here at PDXYZ, live on location here at the Viking Pavilion. God, I keep wanting to say Cox Pavilion. It's killing me. That is just built into my head being in Vegas for Summer League. Viking Pavilion. And I hadn't been in here really since they redid this place. This place rules. It is so freaking nice in here now. It is unbelievable.
Yeah, I haven't been there since the new renovation.
Dude, it's so nice. It's so nice in here. I was actually kind of blown away when I walked in. I was like, oh, this looks awesome. But it is a 10 toes down segment, Senor Casey. You said you had a couple for me. What do you got?
This one, it's going to frustrate me just reading it. 10 toes down, Lego Batman is better than any of the live action movies. Change my mind.
Ooh. That's a spicy one.
Lego Batman
Batman
is better than Christian Bale.
I was just gonna say, like the trilogy, like
it's not better than Michael Keaton.
That's to say, like OG Michael Keaton. Like, here's the thing: Michael Keaton Batman. Without it, we don't have the MCU.
Amen to that.
It is the genesis of modern comic book movies. It's campy. It's not great in the sense of like what we now know as like comic book movies, but without that, without Danny DeVito as Penguin, without Jack Nicholson as Joker, Michelle Pfeiffer as Catwoman,
Tommy Lee as Two-Face.
That
was
like,
the Val Kilmer one, but
yeah, but without all of those, we don't have MCU. We don't like, and again, it's DC. It's a DC property, but we don't even have DC as we know it now. So, and again, I want to give Lego Batman all of the credit in the world. It's awesome. It's so freaking good. But the importance of not only early Batman, but the Christian Bale trilogy, I'm going to go with the live action Batman better than Lego Batman. Even though I'm not a Robert Pattinson detective Batman fan, I understand it has its place. It's not my jam. It's cool, but the way people played that up and gassed that up, that was like it's not for me.
The Robert Pattinson, that has a lot of homage to the video games, so I can understand why people like that aspect of it. The Ben Affleck and the Robert Pattinson weren't for me, but I'm still taking Michael Keaton and Christian Bale over Lego Batman any day.
And we'll pass over Clooney. Like we'll pass over Clooney. We'll pass over.
We'll
Val.
skip that one.
They're fine.
Val Kilmer's great, but Michael Keaton should have done a trilogy.
Yes, I 100% agree. But yeah, that's again Lego Batman, good, very good. But live action, go ahead and give me the live action. If you're saying I have to pick Lego Batman over the Clooneys or even the Afflecks, like I'll take Lego Batman. But if we're talking all of the live action, the field's too big. I'm taking the field.
Again, Heath Ledger died for that role. So yeah, you have to give it to Heath Ledger.
So, all right, what else we got?
This is a little bit of a spicy one, but we'll get into it. Mm-hmm. 10 toes down. Let's suppose that one of you suddenly dies in a tragic blimp accident, but you still have to continue the show and convince the audience that the other person is still alive until you can find a replacement. How long could you Weekend at Bernie's it using nothing but drops, and who would be the easiest to replace? Or replicate.
I think I have the larger volume of drops, if I'm not mistaken.
We got a whole library for you.
Yeah, so on that vein, I think you could keep it going.
We could Weekend at Bernie's a whole show, I think, with you for a few days.
Yeah, I think you could keep that going. But I also probably eat up 60-40 if I'm being nice to myself, maybe closer to 65-35 of the airtime.
You do a lot of yapping.
So that might be harder to cover up for. Do you know what I mean? Like, I think that you got to kind of you got to fill the airspace maybe a little more. You have to go with maybe some of the longer drops, some of the longer rants. You could play the hits for a little while.
It would be good for the summer, but any time that we'd have any breaking news or any breaking anything, I think the gig would be up.
Yeah, summertime would be easy. Harris would be easier, number one, because I think he'd be easier to like marionette around a little bit. I'm a little bit bigger than him. Even without the drops, I think because he's at the one chair, you could go to a lot of the setups and just kind of sneak some stuff in there and make that easier. I think we could do a solid week.
I think we could get maybe 3 days in. That's the best I got.
I think we could get 5. Maybe we split the difference and call 4. But I think Harris would be the one that you could do it for a longer period for, just because the table setting, you might be able to replace. You could just however he sets up a question, you just put a drop in for Trailblazers or Portland Timbers. You know what I mean? Like you might be able to get away with that a little bit more, and you could just play him saying, "I hate this show" over and over and over again.
Nope, don't like that.
See, I could sit here and just to take one of his phrases, I could wax poetically around that and figure that one out. So there's another one on here. It's spicy, and I'm going to do it, Case.
Hit me with it, but we should let's break and then come back and do this.
Well, we're at 49. Yeah, you know what? Let's do that, and we'll put that in closing arguments. Thank you. I'm not looking at the clock right now because I'm an idiot. So we'll wrap up today's show here, closing arguments here on the Firm of Harris and Marang 105.1, The Fan.
The biggest question. Oregon Divorce Mediation Services, powered by Leskin Law, the alternative to divorce court.
You can't handle the truth.
On the Fan Sports Network, 105.1 and 1080, The Fan.
All right, as we're wrapping up things here at PDXYZ at Viking Pavilion at Portland State University. Shout out to all of our guests that came on with us today. Bill Slough, the CIO of the San Francisco Giants. We had CMOs from the Seattle Sounders, Seattle Reign, and Ro Vega, as well as Stephanie Rogers, the CMO of the San Francisco 49ers, and then Michael and Kendall Mercado, who came on talking about their experience in youth sports and what they're trying to do to holistically improve the well-being and mental well-being of young athletes in the region. You can check them out at kickitwithkendall.com. It's Kendall with 2 L's. They were great. They had their little daughter here who had we all have our little, if you're watching on YouTube, we have a little name badges. Mine just says Odysseys. Hers said cutest kid ever. So kind of jealous of that. She was a cute kid, though. She was all cuddled up to Dad and trying to reach for the headphones. So a good little day here at PDXYZ. Everybody always does always takes really good care of us. We always have great guests, and doing this event yearly is awesome. Damian Lillard will be down here in a couple hours. Like I said, Joyner, the head coach at Oregon State. Mitch Canham, the head basketball coach at Oregon State. Mitch Canham, the head baseball coach at Oregon State.
Go Beavs.
Yeah, there's a lot of that going in here. Joyner's wife, I'm forgetting her first name. I'm so sorry. I think it's Tracy, is the head women's soccer coach at the University of Oregon. Greg Oden, who was on with Brandon this morning, I think he did an hour in studio.
You are
with
correct.
those guys.
Tracy Joyner is her name.
Tracy Joyner is her name. So yeah, there's some pretty heavy hitters. The chief administration officer for the Los Angeles Lakers. It is like the guys at PDXYZ do a really good job. I mean, there's a couple hundred people on the floor behind me, and this event's always kind of popping. So if you're in the industry, this is definitely a great place to check out and network and figure all that out. I believe it's pdxyz.com. You can check out when they do these yearly get-togethers, and a lot of this comes out here. I'm seeing actually quite a few members of the Trailblazers organization that I recognize down on the floor. So, yeah, that's a fun one. We're going to pocket that 10 Toes Down.
We'll save it for next week.
Yeah, no, that's a good one.
That's a good
because
one.
I have a very easy answer for that, and it's so unbelievably easy. It's not even funny. But I do want to talk about a little bit about the Trailblazers here. I know as we're kind of up against it here a little bit, but we'll get to that tomorrow. So those are little things that come with that. We'll be back in studio. Harris is back on Friday, so I believe that's where we're going to be with this. I think that's I think I'm covering all case. We good?
Yep, we're all good.
All right, so my clock's all off here, so I'm guessing that we're hitting the time right now. So I'm going to say, here we go. What'd you say? Yeah, okay, we're going to go on that now. Thank you all for being here. Appreciate you. We'll catch you all tomorrow on the Firm of Harris and Marang, 10 to 1. For Casey, I'm Danny Marang. Take care. Talk soon. Bye.